Are live now.
All right. Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Metalheads Unite. This one and one more for the year. It's crazy to think that we're already there. It's like,
Yep,
man,
we are down to two.
I got a sip of my little
It
coffee
is.
there.
Yeah, you're off of coffee.
Yeah, it's just a shot, a little shot.
Yeah, it's like a 50 cal shot. Jesus Christ. Hell, you gotta drink that much coffee on a morning like this. It's only what, 8 degrees?
Yeah, it's cold, and I didn't go to bed till I don't know, like 2:30. So I
Really?
didn't have to because I mean it's hard for me to like
Oh yeah,
go
because you're on
go.
your you're on your
Yeah, I'm on a
yeah
schedule from working nights, so I go to bed about 6 or 7 in the morning most of the time.
yeah
I'll try to
yeah.
back it up, you know, by the time Saturday gets here, but it's hard to do sometimes. So, and plus we had our immediate family Christmas with the me and the wife and the two kids
Oh, that's cool.
yesterday. So just kind of keeping that separate from everybody else. So
No, that's kind of cool.
yeah, because I mean it's gotten to where we got we got nephews and stuff with kids now. So it's kind of like when they come over, it's like it's hard to do all that at once with the
Oh yeah.
all those people. So
Mm-hmm.
we try to break it down. I know it's crazy. People don't like going to so many different Christmases, but it is what it is. You gotta do what you gotta do. So
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, but it works out.
trying to find
It
something
works out.
here.
But yep, as Jason said, welcome to Metalheads Unite. We're here another Saturday, very, very cold Saturday here in the United States. Us actually, I
But
think
most of the
maybe,
United States is.
yeah, I think maybe parts of California and Florida are the only places that didn't really get affected by this. Hell, I think even like the Panhandle of Florida got down below freezing for the first
Yeah,
time in
because I had
God knows when. But
a buddy of mine had just went to Florida for the weekend, or over the week or whatever, and I think he left Monday or Tuesday, like right before it hit.
mhm.
And then he got there and took a picture of the beach or whatever. And they said, "Oh, well, that's beautiful. It's like 7 degrees here." He said, "Oh no, I'm not going out. It's still 30 degrees here."
Yeah,
I was like, "Damn."
yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty crazy. I actually remember most of my family live in Florida, so I remember going down there one Christmas. Let's see, what was I, 15 or 16? So that would have been 92 ish, 91, 92 ish. And we were down there for Christmas or whatever, and it was snowing. Of course, it wasn't going to stick because it's Florida, but
Hmm.
but it was snowing, and like I can remember my cousins that had lived there their whole life, they'd never seen snow, so they were tripping out. They said, "What is that?" uh,
Yeah, it's the White Death. Well, I mean, we're gonna have we will have a white Christmas here this year. So, I mean, as such as it is. So, all right. Well, one of us froze. I wonder if it's me or him. Which one of us froze? Did I freeze? Oh, Jason's power just went out. Okay, so all right, so Jason's power just went out. For those of you who don't know, I mean, we're down here. Let me see. Let me see if I can hold on a second. I might be able to get him in here on our phones. Hang on. Just bear with us a second. Like I say, with everything going on, with all of the cold weather going on down here, the the TVA, the Tennessee Valley Authority, has gotten with a lot of the power companies in the area. They're doing like rolling roadblock. I keep saying rolling blackouts. Sorry, not rolling roadblocks, but they keep doing rolling blackouts at like 15-minute intervals. And I was really, really hoping that it wasn't going to do anything to us. But apparently 5 minutes into the show, they decided to get Jason. Which I was really, really fucking hoping that wasn't going to happen today. I figured if anything, it would have got me, because I'm usually the one that has the most issues with like my Wi-Fi signal and everything dropping out. So I figured if anything, one of the rolling blackouts would have got me. So just so you guys know, like Jason will be back as soon as he possibly can. I'm gonna try to get him back in here over his phone. Maybe he can at least do that until his power comes back on. But just so you guys know, if anything happens over the next little bit and, the signal goes out completely, that we will be back as soon as we can. I'm still not even 100% sure why they're doing these rolling blackouts. They say it's because of the increased draw on the power grids and shit like that. But I mean, the sun's out now, so I mean, no one should really need any lamps or anything in their house and stuff like that. So I don't know. It's kind of frustrating. So looks like I will be solo for the next little bit. So what we'll go ahead and do is, Jason, he's got the birthdays. So we'll go ahead and hold off on that till he gets back. And what we'll do is I will do my best and I will go through all of the news stories that I have anyway. So leading off, and hey, you guys like my Santa hat, by the way? I decided to go all festive today. So not only is it Christmas, but it's also a Detroit Red Wings Santa hat. So, decided to break that out for you guys. So leading off, yeah, nobody's watching. All right. That's awesome. And I don't think anyone will be listening on the radio since Jason's. Well, no, that's not true. Because if he's got the radio going, then I should. Oh, there he. Hey, there he is.
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah.
It's dark and ominous here.
Yeah.
I'm like,
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous, man. I mean, 5 minutes into the show and they decide to hit you in the road with the blackout. So
yeah, I was like, okay, that's not good.
Yeah.
So it may be dark for a few minutes, but we'll try to get through what we can. So
yeah,
I apologize for that. So
yeah, well, I mean, that's what I was telling everybody, that they decided to do rolling blackouts and all this other shit. So. Mm-hmm. Timing couldn't have been much worse. I figured it would have. I figured if anything, it would have gotten me, considering I'm usually the one that has like issues with the Wi-Fi and shit like that. So I figured it would have got me. So
yeah. Well, like you said, you got up this morning with everything flashing, so obviously they didn't hit your side of town. So
I hope so. I hope that's all it was. But it still kind of sucks because like you said, like I have gas heat, and now that it's daytime out. You're not going to have houses with 1 million lamps on and everything like this. So, I mean, I can't really understand why there would be such a huge power draw right now. I mean,
that's the same. I kind of figured if they were going to do it, they would do it after it got dark, So
yeah. So I don't know. It's just stupid. But
well, you know how it is with those types of organizations. We won't go there.
Right. Yeah.
We'll leave that to Dan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we definitely will. Man, he was on one the other night. I actually got to listen to some of the show the other night. So.
Oh, did you? Yeah,
I
actually didn't get to this week. So.
Yeah, I didn't get to hang around for long, but yeah, I got to listen for a little bit the other night. Yeah, he was.
Yeah, seems it's not like he was on a Twitter blast. So.
Yeah. Which, I mean, rightfully so, I'd say. But
yeah, hopefully I can see to read anything. That'll be my next thing. Well, actually, you know what? I don't think. Yeah, it don't affect quick notes, so I should be on. I can pull it up here. I I usually just don't read off the computer because I'm on there watching the chats and stuff. And
Right. Yeah.
so,
Definitely having to adjust on the fly today, folks. So
hey, you don't get that content when you edit, man.
no, you don't.
That's what I
That's
like
true.
about it. It's real. It's real,
It
motherfuckers.
is. That's right. It is.
Uh, anyway, happy to have all of you here nonetheless.
Yeah, absolutely.
Merry Christmas Eve to everybody, I guess, or I guess
Absolutely.
depends on what part of the country you're in. Merry Christmas if you're on the other
Yeah,
side of the globe there. So,
that's right. Merry Christmas / Christmas Eve. That's very true.
yeah, there you go. Yeah. So I guess we'll jump into this thing. Do what I can. When the lights come back on, I'll switch back over. But for now, we'll just ride like this. It's hard for me to hold and do everything at once here. Well, not like I can't multitask. It's just like hard to. It's like awkward, I guess. It's not really hard. It's just awkward to like hold and then maneuver a computer screen and hold a phone.
Yeah.
So I don't have anything set up in here to hold. Like, I guess I should have did that. I should have set my because I got a ring light that actually has a position in there that'll hold your tablet or phone. So
Mm-hmm.
I probably should set that up just in case now, I guess.
Well, I mean, how the hell were you to know? So.
Well, I mean, we've been doing this 2 years, first time this has ever happened. So
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So I mean,
it's not like it's not like it's something that happens on on a regular basis, and you're like, oh, I'll probably need to take care of that.
right.
Anyway, I guess we can kick off with our normal birthdays here. From the 18th to the 24th. December 18th, we had Randy Castillo, drummer for Ozzy Osbourne, Motley Crue, and Azul. Fortunately, he passed away in 2002. Millie Petroza, guitarist and singer for Creator. Roman Glick, bassist for Jackal. Raymond Herrera, drummer for Fear Factory. And Maria Breek, a singer and songwriter for In This Moment. And Dave, I'm going to kill his name, Dave Luckenholter. He's from the Christian rock band Cutlass. He's a bassist there, or was from 2005 to 2013. So then we had December 19th. We had Hawk. That's all I know about his name because that's from the band bassist from Confess. They kind of nicknamed each other there, so they don't. I don't really know their real names, and there's not a lot out there to go by because they go on a lot of podcasts that seem kind of private when it comes to putting stuff on their like public pages. I don't know. I don't understand that, but to each their own, I guess. So, I guess if you're still a fugitive from Iran, you may not want to use your real name. So.
Right. I was just about to say the same thing. Yeah, they don't want to be. Yeah, they don't want to be hunted down. Yeah.
That's funny.
That's unfortunate. They got to go through that shit too, man.
It is stupid, yeah. And they're a great band too. So it's kind of like you would think that they would pretty much put Iran on the map for heavy metal, and so Iran would be kind of happy about that to have some kind of notification, or some kind of
some
notoriety.
kind of
besides
something
being a warmonger.
Right. Yeah. Something positive instead. Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, carry on here. December 20th, we had Peter Criss, drummer and singer for Kiss, Anders Auden, guitarist for Cadaver, Die, which is, I'm not going to try to pronounce their real name, but they're a guitarist for Dur and Grey. December 21st, we had Sean Morgan, guitarist for Seether, Toby Depp, vocalist for Halo Scars. That was just here a couple of weeks ago.
That's right.
And we had December 22nd, we had Michael Osborne, guitarist and vocalist for Axe. He unfortunately passed away in 1984. Seems like they were just getting going about that time, sounds like,
Right.
We had Marcel Shermer, singer and bass player for Destruction. December 23rd, we had Derek Small, bassist for Spinal Tap, and Ron Bushy, drummer for Iron Butterfly. Unfortunately, he passed away in 2021. We had Dave Murray, guitar songwriter for Iron Maiden. And then I know I'm going to kill this name too, but it's Yari Mainpa, guitarist and singer for Winter Sun. December 24th, of course, alone on the top of the mountain, as he probably should be. We had Lemmy Kilmister, bassist and vocalist for Motorhead, who unfortunately passed away in 2015. So happy birthday to all of those. And if I missed any musicians there, I apologize. Happy birthday to you as well. And then I got a special shout out. My son, Tyler, actually had a birthday on the 22nd as well. So happy birthday to him. So
yeah, he did. Happy birthday to Tyler and everybody else.
Yep, and everybody else. I won't leave nobody else.
Right. We try not to, that's for sure. So,
like I say, it's hard to catch everybody, and you can only go with the content that you have. And fortunately, I follow a lot of the bands that I like, so I kind of see it on their, their Instagrams and stuff like that. So sometimes I have to depend on that, because even Loudwire don't cover some of the ones you would think they would. And,
right.
I was just like, really? They're not in there? I'm like, why?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Yep. Who knows, man?
Yeah.
All right. So what I was gonna do when when the power went out over there at your house, I was gonna go ahead and just kind of go ahead and fill time until you got back. I was just going to go ahead and start going through the current events. So, but since we're kind of back on track, we'll just go ahead and do that now. All right. So this week we're going to, for current events, we're going to start off over at the PRP.com. And this isn't really necessarily news to anybody. Nico McBrain, longtime drummer for multi-platinum British heavy metal icons Iron Maiden, quietly battled cancer during the pandemic years. Like I say, we all knew that. Although his diagnosis and surgery were disclosed in September of 2021, the matter only recently began to make the rounds. Per this article published last fall, hyperlink in the story, and I think we actually talked about it when the story initially came out, but this one goes into a little bit more detail. McBrain revealed back in 2019 he began to become concerned at how hoarse his voice had become. He commented of that, quote, "When you are lying down in a quiet room and you speak and hear your voice in your head and have a cold, you sound different," McBrain said. "This happened to me. I thought this is very reminiscent, this different sounding voice of mine, to when I finish a tour after a show. I didn't have a cold or any symptoms of illness at all. I started to feel that I was clearing my throat more when I was in conversations. So I just took it on myself to call my doctor." He was ultimately diagnosed with stage 1 laryngeal cancer and underwent surgery to remove the cancer a week after finding out about it. He has since been in remission for some time now and receives regular checkups. He commented of his ordeal, quote, "I thoroughly recommend that anyone who may feel there is something different with their voice to go out and get it checked out and don't put it off. It was very good for me that I caught it in stage 1, end quote. McBrain's heightened vigilance in regards to his health is no likely coincidence. His Iron Maiden bandmate Bruce Dickinson underwent treatment for a cancerous tumor on his tongue back in 2015. So, and we all know about that too, that what Bruce went through. So, Nico just gave a little bit more insight talking about how he noticed it and,
Oh. Looks like Chris froze up there, so.
Sorry, folks. Apparently today is just not the best day. My Wi-Fi went out, so I was able to reconnect and everything. So not exactly. Yeah, see, there you are. All right, we're 2 for 2 today. So
yeah, right.
So there we go. Anyway, as I was saying before I realized my connection was going out, I was just say, Jason, you've brought this up many times. If you think something might be wrong, go get it checked out. So could never be too careful, especially with stuff like that. So,
Yeah, I
like I
don't know
say,
how many.
you catch it early enough, you can get it taken care of. So,
Yeah, I don't know how many doctor bills I paid for, and nothing's been wrong. But I'd rather have that peace of mind than
mm-hmm.
than the alternative. So
Right.
it
Yeah.
could have been
Better.
worse than what it was, and not realize it. Then I could be fighting for my life. So
Yeah. Definitely better safe than sorry. So,
you just never know. Man. So, and I mean that doesn't go with just adults either. I mean, they're your kid. Sometimes people have kids that can't communicate like that, and have something going wrong. Then you know you need to go get them checked out because they don't want to.
mm-hmm.
We don't want to. We don't want to feel like that there's something we could have done and we did.
Right.
That's the main thing. So, all right. I guess my first one here. Let me see. Is from Loudwire. Will Brian Johnson ever play live with AC/DC again? It turns out that is a question he is not allowed to answer, which the singer revealed in a new interview on a recent episode of the Trump Nation with Eddie Trump on Sirius XM. As it stands, the last AC/DC show took place on September 20th, 2016, with Guns N' Roses frontman Axl Rose filling in for Johnson, who was forced to step aside as he risked permanent hearing loss if he were to continue with the tour. He did, however, return to the studio with AC/DC bandmates to record their 17th studio album, Power Up, which came out in late 2020. Still, no tour has coincided with the release of the album. It had left many fans to ponder the future of AC/DC, especially when considering the fact that Johnson has overcome his hearing issues and has been on stage a couple of times since, most recently at the Taylor Hawkins tribute concert in London. Naturally, host Eddie Trunk asked if Johnson and his AC/DC bandmates will ever play live again, but his question is met with strong opposition. I'm not answering that. Why should I? First of all, there's 5 members to this band, and to ask one member isn't fair. The singer urges, transcribed via Blabbermouth, when pressed about whether or not he would personally like to take the stage with them again, Johnson remained tight-lipped. Eddie, I cannot answer that. I've been told not to by everybody. It's the official line, he replies. The conversation then shifts focus as Trump inquires about Johnson's interest in making another AC/DC album, which is again met with resistance. It's getting tabloidy here. You're getting tabloidy, Johnson says, which I think is hilarious because we try to stay away from being repetitive with questions and he's just digging for something. Worried about any small comment will make headlines around the world. He adds, if I say one thing, it'll be blown out of proportion. You just can't afford to talk now. There's too much blabber on the internet. And I'm not on any kind of face thing or social media at all. Never have been. It's just gossip. So there you have it. AC/DC's kind of, in stalemate, I guess we can say. So, which is kind of understandable. I mean, these guys are up there. So, I mean, they're not young guys anymore. So,
Right.
So it's kind of like Ozzy. Ozzy has said it's hard for him to be living a life that he does right now because it's he wants to be out there on the road and stuff, and he knows he can't do it. So
right.
So
oh yeah, it's driving him crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, these musicians have that in their blood, man. They they want to be out, they want to perform, and they can't do that. Then it's It's kind of way. Actually, my lights came back on, so I'm just waiting on my internet connection to show back up in the Wi-Fi section here. So.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to head on over to metalsucks.net for one here. The final curtain may have fallen on the British extreme metal band Anal Nakrath when they finished their final co-headlining show with Psy in London on December 14th. Since back in October, there had been rumblings that show in particular would mark the end for the band. And while there still hasn't been any official word about the band's future, they said via Facebook that they're considering what comes next. Quote, as the dust settles, our sincere thanks to all who came to the London show. It was a privilege and an honor to play what apparently turned out to be a sold-out show with De Profundis and Psy. People showed up from far and wide, including from a number of other countries, despite the elements, transport issues, and so on. And every person there helped make it a tremendous night of chaos. And a special thank you to the fan who came all the way from Japan for the show and gave us an extremely touching letter. We'll take a moment to catch our breath and then figure out what might be next, if anything. Candidly, the feeling amongst all involved in the show seemed to be that it would be great to reconvene at some point, and we will certainly be considering options, but nothing has been booked or agreed, and we will see what the future brings, end quote. The circumstances behind their potentially final show were interesting to say the least. Due to a change of plan, guitarist Mick Kenny had to miss the December 14th show. Rather than postpone or wait, the band continued on with his blessing, getting Akercock and Voices members to join the lineup. When the band announced that December 14th could be their final curtain call, the band issued a statement where they blamed the pandemic for this uncertainty. Quote, pandemics can apparently be unpredictable. Sometimes they can push the world into lockdown right when you've just recorded a stunning new album. Sometimes a project can blow up during a pandemic and change how you need to approach everything. In our case, there was definite unfinished business with any. There was definite. There's a lot of feedback. That's what that was.
Yeah.
So, in our case, there was definite unfinished business with any plans for touring in the wake of Endarkenment destroyed by the virus. It is possible that a further select few shows will snowball out of this, or that this could turn out to be the last Anal Nakrath show ever. Pandemics aren't the only things that can be unpredictable. All we know is that it promises to be a fine night of apocalyptic chaos. End quote. So there you go. We don't really know what's going to happen with the band at this time, but we'll be sure to keep you up to date as things progress. And that comes from Metal Sucks and also comes from us. If we hear, one way or the other that they're packing it in or they're, going to do something else, we'll let you guys know, but just kind of floating that one out there that, you may or may not have seen the last of Anal Nakrath. Or Nathrak. Sorry, I said that wrong. So, we'll see.
All right. Well, I was trying to find the page because I know that's where most of the comments kind of come through the page. So page because I know that's where most of the comments kind of come through the page. There we go. All right. Now that I have everything, kind of a damn thing. I think like came back on bright for some damn reason. So that's not where I had it. That's not how I had it set. So
got to get all readjusted and everything.
It's all good. All right. Next one here I have is over from Loudwire as well. Most metalheads can probably agree that hard rock and metal are the best types of music to get you going in the gym. A recent study by Velotrick Bike has revealed the top 3 metal bands people listen to for a good pump while exercising. For the study, Velotrick surveyed 1,000 fitness fanatics about the types of music they listen to while exercising, with 51% of the respondents being from the millennial generation. They also use Spotify's application program interface, the API, to gather workout songs and genres and compile 33 playlists with 5,411 songs by 1,508 different artists. The report found that 93% of people feel they need to listen to music when they work out. The top 5 artist participants said they play during a workout are Michael Jackson, Eminem, Queen, Drake, and drumroll please, Metallica. But though we would choose metal as our top genre of choice for working out, pop was actually the most popular genre, with 42% of participants saying it's their exercise music of choice. Next was hip hop and rap, then classic rock, and heavy metal came in at number 4, which is crazy to me because I don't know. Seems like you want the most aggression thing you can listen to when you're working out, but if Beat It does it for you, I guess there you go.
It's true.
As for the top 3 heavy metal artists fitness fanatics listen to, 25% chose Metallica, 22% chose Pantera, and 22% chose Iron Maiden. Kind of evened out there a little bit. Those selections we can absolutely get behind. As for the classic rock artists, Queen, Pink Floyd, and the Beatles were the top 3 contenders. Bellatrix study further added that people are more likely to listen to genres with a higher average beats per minute while working out, as 38% of the participants it cited it as the most important element of the music they play. The second most important aspect was the bass, and the third was the tempo. Ultimately, if you don't already have Metallica, Pantera, and Iron Maiden in your workout playlist, it's time to do some reevaluating. So there you go. And it's like, I don't know. To me, I got a full list of shit when it's all metal. So, so oh, did he freeze up again? Well, Chris may have froze up again on us here. So, yep, he must have. So, anyway, I'll try to carry on then. All right, my next one is over from Metal Hammer. Sharon Osbourne has reported that she's back at home and doing great after a medical emergency landed her in the hospital at the weekend. She was taken to hospital on Friday night after the medical emergency in Southern California. According to reports, Osbourne fell ill at the Glen Tavern Inn in St. Paula, 70 miles northwest of Los Angeles. Ventura County Fire Department EMS responded to the emergency call at the historic hotel at around 6:30 p.m. on Friday. And Santa Paula Police Chief Donald Aguilar confirmed that the patient was 70-year-old Sharon Osbourne. Osbourne posted on her Instagram account, back home and doing great. Thank you all for the love. She did not give any further details of the nature of the emergency. Sharon is the wife and manager of Black Sabbath icon Ozzy Osbourne, which is 74. She successfully fought off colon cancer in the early 2000s, as covered by the MTV reality show The Osbournes. Sharon and Ozzy's son Jack gave his own update on Sharon's condition and explained that she had taken ill while filming an episode of the family show The Osbournes Night of Terror. It had originally been reported she may have been filming for a show called Ghost Adventures. Jack said on Instagram story, "Okay, here's what I'll say. First things, my mother wasn't filming an episode of Ghost Adventures. She was filming the new episode of Night of Terror with me. Now that we have made that clear, she has been given all clear from her medical team and is now at home. Thank you to everyone who has reached out with love and support. As to what happened to my mom," he said, "my mom, I'm going to leave it to her to share about when she is ready." So I guess Ozzy isn't the only one battling health problems these days. So.
Right. Yeah. I mean, but it's good that whatever it was that she was going through, thankfully she's back home. So
yeah. So
hopefully it's nothing major or long term. So
well, true.
All right, heading over to Metal Injection for my next one. Nervosa has parted ways with drummer Nanu Villalba due to a quote-unquote lack of common agreement. Villalba was only hired earlier this year to replace Eleni Noda, who had been in the band between 2020 and 2022. Nervosa states Villalba's departure will not affect the creation of their follow-up to 2021's Perpetual Chaos. Quote, "With this post, we would like to inform our fans and followers that Nanu Villalba makes no longer part of Nervosa due to lack of common agreement," said the band. "We thank her for her contribution until now, and we wish the best for her future. The composition and pre-production of the album is continuing normally, and we are hitting the studio in a month. Stay tuned," end quote. So who knows what the hell happened there? Who knows what lack of common agreement means, especially when you consider somebody who was in the band for less than a year. So, you never know.
Nanu.
That's right.
Showing our age there. So.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, she may have gotten summoned back up to Orc. Yeah, we're definitely dating ourselves there. So
yeah,
some of you young whippersnappers may have to Google that. So
yeah, actually, it was a TV show called Mork and Mindy that actually made Robin Williams famous. So
yep,
so.
That's true.
My last story here is because it was a short news week. I got some headline stuff, but not much as far as in detail stories. So
yeah, I've got one more story, and then like I say, I got something we could discuss real quick if you'd like to.
Yeah, okay.
I kind of got a bone to pick with Loudwire, so
okay. Last one is over from Metal Sucks. Earlier this week, Megadeth drummer Dirk Verbeuren announced that he was teaming up with his former Art Sonic bandmate, Sylvain Demercastle to launch a nonprofit organization aimed at preserving as much rainforest in Costa Rica as possible, called Savage Lands. According to the organization's site, it's a nonprofit that generates funds in order to finance reforestation efforts in Costa Rica and purchase land to extend green areas and create sanctuary zones. Unfortunately, deforestation has been running rampant throughout Central and South America for years now, leaving large swaths of land barren and destroying the natural habitats of countless species of animals. Since they seek to generate donations to help their cause, Savage Lands is running a new initiative called Lottery of the Trees, which features some pretty awesome prizes for the winner. By purchasing a lottery ticket online, you enter a sweepstakes to win a custom Dunnable guitar made by intronauts Sasha Dunnable, a second custom Dunnable guitar that's been played on stage by members of Gojira, Megadeth, Loud Blast, and Sepultura. A pass to attend Hellfest 2023. Oh, you just signed me up right there.
I was about to say,
the lottery will run until February 15th, 2023. All money generated by the Lottery of the Trees will go directly to the land purchases and reforestation projects in some of the more at-risk areas of Costa Rica. Verburen said isn't the only guy in metal looking to save Central and South American rainforest. Earlier this year, Lamb of God frontman Randy Blythe explained how he's been working to purchase land in Ecuador to protect as much rainforest as possible from deforestation itself. And we all know that Gojira is big into the Amazon, so there's a lot of metal out there. It's crazy to think it. All these stories always get me to thinking like metal gets such a bad rap for being, this bad, Satan worshiping, all this other, stereotypical bullshit.
Yeah.
And you see all the good that it does. And we'll do another story that, that I've done in the past. I'll talk about a little bit too from Corpse Grinder. So, some of these feel good stories make you realize that they're just people and they do have a heart and they do have, using their mouthpiece for good. So
right,
it's not always political. So
right, yeah. And I don't know what it's because not to get off on a tangent that has nothing to do with this show, but I don't know what it's going to take for us as humans to realize that if that fucking rainforest goes, we're fucked.
Yeah, we're doomed, man. Because it provides like 60% of the world's oxygen. So.
Yeah, so I don't know I really don't know what it's going to take. But it's good that there are people like like you say, like Gojira and Randy Blythe and Dirk Verburen getting out there and be like, hey, we're gonna try to do the best we can. But yeah, humans. We better make sure that rainforest doesn't disappear because we will not be too far behind if that happens. So,
and I always think too is like growing up, I always remember the commercial where their families going down a road and they throw litter out on the side of the highway and the Indians sitting there crying. And I always, anytime I hear these stories, I think back to that because I feel like that was a sign they were telling you 30 years ago, like, hey. We're in a bad spot. We
better wake the fuck up.
Yeah. So we're still 30 years later trying to get people to wake up, which is crazy. So, but anyway, you can go over to the Savage Lands link there and donate if you want to. So,
yep. All right. So heading back over to Metal Sucks for my last one. Throughout the annals of time, black metal's time in the early 90s stands out as a particular period of insanity, murder, and arson in the idyllic area surrounding Oslo, Norway. It's such an important... What's that? It's such an important part of the genre's history that organizers of next year's Inferno Metal Festival Norway have organized sightseeing tours that bring attendees to various notorious locales. Due to popular demand and the fact that the previously announced bus tour on April 6th had sold out, festival organizers recently announced that they had added a second tour on April 7th for black metal fans to experience the genre's history. Hosted by Anders Odin of Cadaver, Celtic Frost, Satyricon, and Order, the sightseeing tour will feature his exclusive anecdotes and personal memories from that time, having been in the scene as a fan and performer since 1986. Key locations the tour will visit include the Holmenkollen Kapell, which was originally burned down in August 1992 by Varg Vikernes, Bard Faust Eithen, and Oystein Euronymous Arseth. The tour will also include the scene where Euronymous was murdered by Varg and the scene of Helvete from 1991 to 1993. Tickets to the Black Metal Bus sightseeing tour can be picked up today, along with tickets to the actual festival itself. The 4-day festival features an absolutely stacked lineup that you likely don't want to miss. So if you can swing it, you should absolutely check it out. And there are hyperlinks in the story to where you can get the tickets to the tour, the tickets to the festival, and the lineup for the festival itself. And as an aside, if I pronounced any of those names or any of those places over there in Norway wrong, I want to apologize for that in advance. So,
well, we tend to do that a lot. So
yeah, well, I mean,
especially me.
We definitely try to do our best, considering we're not from Europe at all. So we try to do our best with some of these Scandinavian cities and Finnish names and stuff like that. So we definitely absolutely do not mean any disrespect, and we're trying to we're doing our best. So, but we still
I will say this:
if we're butchering any names.
My 7th grade world geography teacher from Cornbread Middle School would be happy. So.
All right. So right before you get to your headlines, I want to read something, and I'm not gonna go through this entire story, but it's something that caught my attention. And I took a look at it, and I want to see what you think. It's the story over at Loudwire called 10 Bands Who Nailed Seemingly Impossible to Cover Rock and Metal Songs.
I seen this. I didn't open it and look, so I'm kind of interested.
Right. And I really like a good cover song, so I was like, all right, so you got me. So like I say, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but at one point they talked about Ghost's version of Enter Sandman. And here's what it says. It says, regardless of how divisive Metallica, a.k.a. the Black Album, is amongst Metallica fans, the opener Enter Sandman is undeniably one of their biggest compositions. Thus, it took a lot of guts for the similarly polarizing Ghost to take a crack at it for 2021's The Metallica Blacklist. Imaginatively, they convert it into a pious piano ballad before erupting into a fiery yet danceable, swanky, and luscious performance. It's successfully compact, too, with an extraordinary compromise between faithfulness and the idiosyncratic innovation. Although a few other acts, including Weezer, Juanes, and Rina Sawayama, also copied Enter Sandman for the collection, Ghost topped them by a mile. That's the description. Like I say, there's a couple other songs in here, but I don't know what it is. And I mean, obviously this author, let's see who wrote this. It was written by Jordan Blum over at Loudwire. Now, obviously, this is just an opinion piece, and that's fine.
And he's probably a Ghost fan, so.
But I don't get I really don't get what it is about everybody being on Ghost junk all of a sudden here lately. Because as far as I'm concerned, and he even listed a couple of the other acts that covered Enter Sandman for the Blacklist.
And my opinion was Weezer did a better job than anybody on that. So.
Weezer did do a better job than anybody.
Let me say this: I'm not a Weezer fan either. So
no, I am not either.
Don't think I'm like just because it's I like Weezer better than Ghost. No, I don't like either one of those bands. But
right.
so it's to me that whole album was kind of. I don't know. It was just kind of weird to me, I guess. It was just like a misplacement of acts trying to cover metal. And it was
yeah.
Maybe some people may have enjoyed it. Me personally, I would have rather seen a bunch of, Killswitch Engage and Machine Head and, bands like Bullet for My Valentine covering Metallica songs. But
right. Well,
that's just me. But
yeah, because we went through the whole thing and we talked about every single
right.
That was actually our first show that went 3.5 hours. Cause I remember we had basically dedicated pretty much the entire episode to reviewing every single song on there. So I don't really know if it's because it's trendy to be on the Ghost train right now. I really don't
Yeah,
know.
probably. I mean,
You
you
know,
got
and
to think about people became Tool fans for the same reason. So,
yeah,
not saying that every Tool song is bad. I just think that
yeah,
everything still sounds like Sober, but that's
pretty
just
much.
me. But
Pretty
so,
much. I'm kind of
so
the same way, and I'm sure we probably get a lot of flack for that. But hey,
well, it's
like I
okay.
say, I'm not.
So the thing with Tool is we know they could probably do more than what they do, and change up stuff, but they don't. That's what
Right.
pisses me off. Is like you have the talent. Obviously you have one of the better drummers in bands right now. People talk about him all the time.
That's
So
actually what I like most about Tool is their drummer.
yeah. So I mean, why would you not? I don't know. I just don't get the repetitiveness because people get sick of that. I've
Hmm.
had I got friends of mine that are big Tool fans. And the first thing when they said when that last album come out is, I waited 13 years for this shit. I
Right.
mean, they were upset because they waited 13 years for something, and it sounds like everything else they've ever done. It's like
Hmm.
they
I
they
said,
we talk
yeah.
about a lot how bands go out and try to change up their sound every once in a while, and to me, Tool just plays it safe, and I don't know, I don't get it. But,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
I
so
would
yeah,
actually, I would actually go out and listen to a Tool album if they did try to do something a little different and try to evolutionize their sound a little bit. But
hmm
I don't think James Keenan James would ever fucking do that shit. But whatever.
yeah. Because I don't know. I like I say, that guy's entitled to his opinion, just like we are. Because
Yeah,
right now we're just offering our opinion. We just offered our opinion on Tool. We've offered our opinion on Ghost here, plenty of times. So, but I think what got me the most was that the guy that like I already closed the shit. I think his name was Jacob. I don't know. I can't remember because I already closed the story because I just wanted to bring up that one part.
yeah,
So I can't remember the author's exact name. So I mean, he's entitled to his own opinion, but I think what I have the problem with the most is that he talked about how Ghost's cover lapped all
yeah.
those
That's
other by a mile.
yeah, I don't see that for
I don't
sure.
see
So
that. I don't see that either. And I'm like you. I think Weezer did the best cover of Enter
mm,
Sandman because they even added their own little tweak in there by
right,
throwing their part of Buddy Holly into the end of the
yeah,
guitar solo, which
exactly,
I
yeah.
thought which I thought was fucking clever as hell. So I like the way they did that. Honestly, I thought Ghost version was the worst. I thought it
Yeah.
was absolute garbage.
Yeah,
But
which is crazy because you would think with them being a rock band or hard rock, in some cases I guess people might say they're heavy metal. I don't, but
right,
they're more
we
of a
don't.
hard
Yeah,
rock band to me.
we
And
don't
that's
think
and
so.
that's actually being generous, but
Hmm.
so, but I mean they are a rock band. So
Yeah,
to me, if you're a rock band covering a metal band, you would think it would be a little bit more, um, fast paced or
hmm
a little bit. I don't know, just be a little bit more because there wasn't really anything special there. I mean,
no,
it was kind of like crazy for them to do it the way they did it. Honestly,
yeah,
it just for that song anyway. For Enter Sandman, I don't think it worked.
no,
If
and
they would have did
especially
if they would have did that with something like Nothing Else Matters or something, yeah,
yeah,
probably it would. That probably would have worked out a lot better. But
yeah,
but yeah, not for that song. Like I
no.
said, but
And the funny thing is Tobias Forge is supposedly like a massive lifelong Metallica fan, and then
yeah,
that's what he came up with.
yeah, yeah.
I don't
That's that's
know. I
that,
just
that's another thing. It's kind of like I don't know.
Yeah. So I mean
Yeah.
it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I had
Yeah,
really had
I
a hard
seen
time
that
with.
and I didn't open it. I meant to open it and look at that myself, and I didn't. So,
Yeah. So, but I don't know because I mean, hell, we're
I was kind
barely.
of curious. Kind of curious what else was on there.
Well, let's see. I mean, let me refind it here. Let's see because I do have something else that I found talking about Rain and Blood. So I don't know if you want to talk about that, but anyway, that's something we can talk about now or just when we have some more time because that's obviously
Yeah,
nothing that's gonna
right.
because that's just another opinion piece. But I could see how that one could get kind of divisive. The other one,
Mhm.
anyway. So the other songs on the list, You had Vader doing their cover of Raining Blood. Yeah, obviously Ghost doing Enter Sandman. You had Sanctuary doing White Rabbit by Jefferson Airplane.
I don't think I've ever heard that one. So
no, I don't think I have either. Then you have Anna Marth doing their cover of Aerials by System of a Down,
which was okay.
Then Typo Negative with their cover of Black Sabbath by Black Sabbath, of course. And then you have Ronnie James Dio and Yngwie Malmsteen doing their cover of Dream On,
which was the best one ever. So
yeah, sure, of course, best cover ever. Then you have Death doing their cover of Painkiller by Judas Priest, and then Avenged Sevenfold doing Wish You Were Here by Pink Floyd, which was done very well. Done very well. And then Opeth doing their cover of Wood by Alice in Chains. And then you had Tool doing their cover of No Quarter by Led Zeppelin. And that was the last one. That was the last one.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So those were the ones that, according to this guy over at Loudwire, were bands who nailed seemingly impossible to cover rock and metal songs. So
that may be something we talk about in a second in the new year or something, because we've done a playlist of covers before, some of our favorite covers, where we never went in depth talking about stuff like that. So I think that'd be pretty cool to try to break down some good covers.
Yeah, we could probably backtrack and go over the playlist that we compiled, or we could just start another one, because there's covers. There's cover songs galore out there.
Yeah, there's, like I said, there was Queensryche did a great cover of Rebel Yell for Billy Idol just recently. So
so there's a ton of good ones.
And like I said, Tom LaTorre, until they got to the chorus, I could have sworn Billy Idol was guesting on the vocals, because I'm just like, that sounds like an awful lot like Billy Idol. I'm like, are you sure? And then
he did a great job.
And then of course they hit the chorus, and I was like, oh no, that's Todd LaTorre. But it was very accurately done, which was kind of crazy. But and then you got those songs like Black Wedding, which is kind of like White Wedding, but it wasn't really.
That's more of a. I think it's more of like
more a spin-off, I guess. Yeah,
kind of like a tribute or something. All right, so anyway, do you want to? So what would you like to do? Would you like to go over this Rain and Blood opinion piece, or do you want to just hold it? I don't care either way. I really don't.
We could probably just hold it. So
okay, all right, that's fine.
Hang on to it. So we'll probably need a lot for next week. So
we might.
Because honestly, we're probably not going to have a album review segment, because it's the end of the year review anyway. So if we do have, there's not really, I think there was only like 6 maybe listed or something. It was very minimal. So
I can tell you that. I can actually tell you that. But
so not real sure there's going to be a lot. This week was bigger, and it still wasn't a lot to choose from. We actually wound up going to YouTube.
4, 5, 6, 7. You have. So for next week, we have 9 new releases.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't a lot. So
and we have 9 new releases.
And how many of them are re-releases?
2. Well, actually, I didn't even count the re-releases, because there's 3 of those. So there's 9 new releases. Of those, 2 of them are EPs, and one of them is a split release. So technically, there's only 6 brand new LPs coming out next week.
Wow. So
at least according to our source.
So there we go. Yeah. I will say this, man. I've said this before. If you're a death metal fan, this has been your year. There has been so much death metal out there. It's crazy. It's like they pop up like wild mushrooms out there.
They really do.
All right. Other headlines we can talk about real quick. Dino Cazares being in touring bands, people have this misconception you're making big bucks. We've talked about that before, on here. So, Fred Durst volunteers Limp Bizkit to help out Twitter for some reason.
I did see that.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure that's the kind of help he needs, but okay. Killswitch engages Adam D on Pantera making new music. Don't call it Pantera, and I kind of agree with that.
Agreed.
I mean, you can go a certain extent of being like a Pantera tribute, just so the younger generation gets to hear that music live. But if you're making new records, yeah, don't fucking call that shit Pantera.
Yeah, if you want to end up turning this into some sort of super group, that's fine, but come up with a new name.
Right? Yeah, don't use Pantera because I mean, really, that wasn't. I mean, that was Dime and Benny. Pantera name. If you link Pantera to anybody, it's going to be those two guys. Even though all four members were there, and we can all agree that Rex and Phil brought a new element to the band.
Yes,
but that's beside the point. It was still Pantera, even in the glam days. It was still Benny and Dime's Pantera. So
yep.
Dime
was playing the guitar the entire time.
Yeah,
so
that's right. Yeah. So
of course Vinny was on the drums too, but of course.
That would be kind of a. I don't know. I think I would kind of lose a little respect for them if they did that. Honestly.
Yeah. I don't think. I don't see that happening. Even though I know that Charlie Benante said that he would.
Willing to record.
He'd be willing to do it, but I think if they were to sit down and really talk about it, I think if nothing else, Charlie and Zach would be like, "Look, we can't. We're not going to be able to do this under that banner."
So I honestly don't think Zach would do it. Period. I mean, I really don't. I really don't think he would. I don't think he would record new music. I mean,
no, he wouldn't.
If he does, it would really surprise me. So.
Yeah, I don't think I don't see it happening, but I still think I still agree with Adam that they shouldn't do it. I don't see it happening, but I think he's right.
Yeah. Then we have Bleeding Through shares a tease of new material, which is good. So always good to hear some new Bleeding Through. This one kind of was funny. Rob Flynn reflects on Machine Head's "Is There Anybody Out There" being their top song on Spotify, which. I mean, I don't know why he's so surprised by that because it's a song that's not on an album. So, I mean, the only way you're going to listen to it is through any way you can listen to a single. So,
yep.
So obviously it's going to get more spins than an album because, like you said, with a lot of people like me and you, we still have hard copies. So, and I honestly listen to, of Kingdom and Crown. I listen to it more in the car on CD than I do on Spotify. So.
Yeah.
All right. There is still no chance of a Strapping Young Lad reunion, which is kind of fucked up because I do have some good stuff. Rex Brown thinks Pantera is reinventing the Still Got Buried under the new metal wave. I could probably see that.
There may be a little something to that.
Yeah. Well, it's like anything else. When Pantera came out, they was a new sound, and it kind of pushed the grunge kind of short-lived because of that. So I really think because grunge kind of pushed the glam metal, whatever people call it, hair metal, glam metal, whatever. It's still rock, but anyway, it pushed all those bands kind of to the side because it was a new sound. And then of course Pantera reinvented their sales at that time and came out and with really they got big off of Vulgar Display of Power. So once that came out, then they kind of took off. So
yep.
So that kind of gave a short-lived session to the grunge scene, I believe. So not saying they were done for altogether, which I mean none of them were. I mean we still talk about a lot of the hair metal bands, putting out new music now. So obviously it didn't kill them, but it kind of took some popularity out of their sales. That's for sure. So.
And Pearl Jam and Alice in Chains are still around. So
yeah.
Of course, all
the ones that are still living are still around.
Right. Yeah. So obviously, Alice in Chains not in its original incarnation.
Right.
Unfortunately, with Lane Staley passing away, but still, I mean, Jerry Cantrell and them, they're still around.
Yep.
But as far as I know, Pearl Jam is still because I mean I don't know who's been coming and going. I mean, I know Eddie Vedder is still the lead singer of Pearl Jam, so I don't know what's up with the rest of the band, but I know Pearl Jam, in and of itself is still around. So, I mean, the grunge bands, they're still out there. And like you say, we still hear every once in a while, like hell, like Y&T and the Bullet Boys and
Yeah. Well, just
Winger and shit
Enough's
like that.
Enough just had an album out, so I mean,
Right. So yeah,
so,
so there are still those hair metal bands who are
which is crazy
they're
because
hanging around.
which was crazy because I don't ever picture Enough's Enough as one of the most popular ones either. So it's
Right.
kind of like, how are they still making music? But
Yeah.
good for them, though, I guess. I mean,
Hmm.
hell, Jackal just had a new album out. So, I mean,
Right.
so yeah, they never, they're still out there doing their thing. So,
Hmm.
uh, Dave Ellison's The Lucid says new music is coming soon. So, Dave Ellison's still busy even after I think he's more busier now after Megadeth than he was before when it was in it. So,
Actually, I think you're right about that.
we had Joey DeMeo. Manowar is working on ass-kicking songs for their next studio album. Which
I saw that, and I
that's
think
pretty cool.
they I actually think they teased a snippet of something new. I think I saw that this morning.
Yep. And then Paul Stanley, Robin Zander, Lita Ford, Stephen Pearcy, Sebastian Bach, and a lot of others performed at Chris Angel's 55th birthday bash. That's pretty interesting. The thing that kind of got me interesting with that was you had Stephen Pearcy and Sebastian Bach on the same stage there. So that's kind of a
Yeah.
And I was just thinking, I said, man, if they ever did like a kind of a compilation thing there, that would be kind of interesting to hear those two vocal styles in a
Hmm.
in a in an album. But yeah, who knows?
Yeah. Never say never.
Never say never. Yeah, former Newstead members launch a new band called Underlord, which I can't wait for that. That's going to be pretty kick ass, I think.
It probably will be. Yeah.
I actually think Newstead kind of got the shit end because once he got out of Metallica, I don't think a lot of people paid as much attention to him for some reason. And actually, that Newstead
Right.
record is pretty damn good, man. I liked
Mhm.
it. So, Slayer's Kerry King shows up on the big screen at the LA Raiders versus New England Patriots game. Well, I guess you can get more psyched than that. So.
I saw that. Yeah.
Sepultura was joined by Phil Anselmo, Scott Ian, and Matt Heafy on stage at Knotfest Brazil. Lucky fuckers.
I know.
I was like, none of that shit ever happens over here. Like,
Yeah, I know.
if it does, it doesn't happen near us.
Mm-mm.
Ex-Queensryche singer Jeff Tate says he feels great 6 months after his open heart surgery, so that's good news.
That is good news.
There's no end in sight for Clutch, as John Paul Gaster says. There is no retirement plan, which is good. We don't want you to. So, I've never been a huge Clutch fan, but there are some stuff I like.
Yeah.
So,
Same.
They actually, I'll tell you what, Clutch is a great live band. Regardless, I mean they bring some high energy and stuff. I liked it. So they were actually at the festival last year when we were there. So I caught a little bit toward the end of their act because jumping in between sets is kind of hard to catch up all of everything. So
right.
And then last but not least, Corpse Grinder proves that he is the nicest guy in metal by hanging out with Santa and donating his winnings. I guess you could say is he took to the claw machine and handed out stuffed animals to the kids, which is pretty cool.
Which is one of his things. He does that all the time.
Yeah, he does it all the time. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah, he's always doing that.
Metal gets all this big, stereotypical things about them, and people don't realize that what they do, on the back end of the music.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's kind of like Slayer. Tom Araya said before, if I put a pentagram on every album and it sells, that's what I'll do. So, whether I believe in it or not. And
yeah, because he's Catholic, isn't he?
I think something like that. Yeah. So, but the thing is like people don't realize that they are doing that for marketing reasons. They're not just going out and Dio was always one of those. Oh, they're devil worshippers because he come out with the devil horns and it's like, well, whatever, dude. Like, I don't mean shit, but whatever. Yeah, people are wild, man. So,
yep.
But that was all of the headlines I had. So,
well, shit, I think that pretty well gets us up to date from the past week.
Yeah. I mean, it was, like I said, there was a lot of stories. It just weren't like a lot of, once you clicked on it, there was like 2 or 3 paragraphs and that was it. So I'm just like, well, hell, I'm not going to do 15 stories with 2 or 3 paragraphs. So.
Right. Yeah. Nothing super duper in depth. Yeah. That's very true.
And I mean, we've talked about some of the things. We talked about Corpse Grinder doing that before. So, and just giving a health update on Jeff Tate and, some of the cool compilations of like the Knot Fest and then the 55th birthday bash for Chris Angel.
Mm-hmm.
The people kind of got together. It was pretty cool. And then just talking about new music, of course, that's what we're here for. So,
Absolutely.
oh man.
Speaking of new music, Dana over our buddy over at Metal and Tats sent us a file of unreleased music from our new friends over at Halo Scars. So we got to listen to that earlier in the week. So that was very cool. So
yeah, let's just say I think everybody's going to be pretty satisfied with the
yes.
If it all sounds like that, I think we'll all be on board. So
yeah.
And I was
impressed.
Like I was telling him, I think Halo Scars has that gift of being where they have so many different layers that they can go to, and I don't think a lot of bands have that. And I think them being, a younger band, not to say by age wise, just as far as a band, they haven't been around as long, but.
Well, Colby would probably have something to say about the younger part.
Well, I mean, he just had a birthday, so I mean, golly.
I know. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, but you
just get over it, Dad. God.
I know. Yeah, I know. So I mean, you just talked about the layer aspect of Halo Scars. This new song that Dana let us hear even has another new layer that they added to it. Yeah. So, and I think if I remember right, I mean, we even touched on that during the interview, talking about how
we did,
about how their current sound lends itself to being able to evolve into something else. And like you said, if this new song that we got to hear is any indication, then they've evolved already.
Yeah.
So I mean.
Well, I mean, you got the experience with Kobe there. I mean, he's kind of like being. To me, he's kind of being like the guy taking all the younger guys under his wing and showing them the ropes of actually the business side of things.
Yep.
And it's good because if something ever goes, awry and they, for some reason, one of the younger guys, goes somewhere else or whatever, he can take that knowledge with him.
Right.
We don't want that to happen by no means.
Right. Of course.
I think they finally got a click and they need to stick with it. But, But yeah, I actually think that this is going to be a pretty big record for those guys, and hopefully it boosts them up to a little bit bigger status because they definitely deserve it.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely. So yeah,
which we may be talking about them again, because they had an EP out. So I mean, that's one of our end of the year deals we do is the top 5 EPs along with the top 10 albums. So, so which I had to write down a bunch of EPs because I had to go back and listen to them. Now I got my albums pretty much figured out, but
I think I have my LPs figured out. I've got to do a little bit of homework on my EPs because even though I said this at the beginning of the year, I didn't really follow up on it. I said I was going to do a better job on EPs in 22, and I fucking didn't. So I mean, I listened to some, I absolutely did, but I didn't listen to as many as I probably should have. So,
and our friends over at Hex has been sharing a lot of the the reviews from other podcasts and magazine publications and stuff, and they've been pretty high up on their list there. So congratulations to them. So,
yeah, they've been cleaning up.
I think the lowest one was 25 out of 50. So
yeah,
I mean they were better than the other half of the list. So I mean that's pretty fucking impressive. So
yeah.
And then they've been all the way down to the best album in some places. So like I said, all this stuff's opinionated. I mean, it's not like what we do. Next week is not going to say anything bad about any bands that we don't pick.
No, of course not.
To me, like this year is the hardest that I've had to do. Like I said, it's probably because we got a bigger list to go by.
Yeah,
but it's still harder because you got big bands and then you got a lot of smaller bands. And to me, it's going to be surprising. My list probably will be because I think a lot of these smaller bands may have had better albums than some of the bigger bands. So it's going to be kind of crazy.
Yeah, because I actually saw it was either this morning or yesterday where Metal Hammer they had a readers poll and Slipknot got the readers poll album of the year.
Okay. Well, I mean, like I said, to me, that wasn't a bad album. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you know, maybe it be in the top 10, maybe it won't. You'll have to
Yeah,
tune in,
you
tune in,
definitely have
listen.
to. Yeah, you definitely have to find out next week. So
Spend your New Year's Eve with us.
yeah. Thankfully, it'll be New Year's Eve day, so you guys,
Right? Yes.
all you guys can go get hammered Saturday night.
Yeah.
So
Talk about how dumb we were for our top 10. Them dumb
that's right.
motherfuckers didn't know shit, man. Give me a
Yeah,
beer.
yeah, exactly.
Fucking metalhead guys got it wrong.
Yeah.
uh,
Hey,
which is
but see, that's the thing though. Like, if anybody, hey, if anybody wants to, no matter what it is, whether it's our top 10, year in review next week, whatever it is, if anybody wants to, come by in the chat and offer their opinions, hey, we're more than
yeah.
we're more than willing to listen. It's definitely no problem.
Yeah, and I had said before, I'd love to hear what Victor and Dana would compile as a top 10. That would be kind of interesting to hear.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
especially because I know Victor listens to a lot more broad range than we do. So,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. Victor would.
I think he would give a different perspective as far as as a total complete uh, metalhead. So,
Yeah, Victor would definitely have the black and death metal
yeah, oh yeah,
subgenres taken care of. He absolutely would.
uh,
That's totally fine. It's totally
yeah,
fine.
yeah. I just want to say
Hey,
something.
speak of the devil, Dana
Right
is
there's Dana right there. So
Dana has arrived in the chat. Good morning, Dana.
yeah, Dana, we were just bragging about
The new Halo scars.
the
Yeah.
new Halo scars. So can't wait for everybody to kind of to get to hear that. So um, and
So I was just about to ask you, Jason, is this the weekly playlist that's up on the screen right
yeah, I
now?
was actually about to
Okay.
talk about that. So the weekly playlist is up there. If you're on radio.co, you can always go to Metalheads Unite and click playlists, and then all of them will be there. So
Mm-hmm.
this one would be the Christmas edition. So it's mostly all Christmas music. So don't go to you from Christmas to Christmas listening to that boring ass Mariah Carey shit.
Ugh.
Listen to some good stuff.
Angela and I actually the other night we went and just we were out and about, and then we stopped at Taco Bell real quick just to grab a bite to eat, and we were sitting there in the dining room, and that damn song came on, and I went, damn it, and Angela's like, what's the matter? She was like, and I was like, I went the whole season so far without having to hear this fucking song once.
Well,
So
if you want to get rid of
my streak of not having to hear Mariah Carey was broken at Taco Bell the other night. So
if you want to get the Mariah Carey out of your mind, then From Ashes to New just did a remake of that song.
yeah,
It's pretty fucking good. So
yeah. I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is.
all right, I guess we can jump over to hitting the road here. I got a couple of
Sweet.
well, actually, one festival at least to talk about.
King Diamond,
King
no
Down
presents.
Over.
Yeah, that was actually
Well, that song is actually on the list. So.
it was. I was about to say it's on there.
Yep, it is on there. So uh, it's got a lot of untraditional Christmas songs on there too.
Yeah.
So, you can imagine with Steel Panther and stuff like that being on the
Mm-hmm.
list. But you kind of got to have fun with it. And people
Yeah.
get tired of hearing this. I mean, I could put 20 renditions of Silent Night on every. Who the fuck wants to listen to that? I mean,
Yeah.
you want to hear something different and
Mm-hmm.
something new, and I always think "Mistress for Christmas" whenever I think about Christmas metal music. But
AC/DC.
yeah, yeah. All right, so I guess I'll kick off here. Over the course of 4 days next August, more than 24 bands are going to turn the idyllic city of Bergen, Norway, into a heavy metal battleground for Beyond the Gates Festival. While it's been previously reported that the 4-day event will be Dimmu Borgir's only 2023 performance, organizers announced the entire lineup as well as some special show attendees may not want to miss. For example, Deicide will use the festival to play the entirety of Legion from start to back. Similarly, Enslaved will perform the entirety of Eld during their set, and Primordial will play the Nameless Dead in full as well. So you got 3 bands playing full albums. That's pretty fucking impressive. So
That is cool.
Beyond the Gates will run from August 2nd to August 5th in Bergen, Norway. During the event, various venues throughout the city will host different concerts. 4-day tickets to the festival that were purchased before the end of December 2022 will include all night shift and day shift concerts, as well as the main event. You can pick up your tickets to the 4 days of absolute mayhem without actually getting to see mayhem over at Ticketmaster, which sucks. I mean, mayhem would be a good addition to that.
Yeah.
Anyway, the full list is. They said this is a full list. I'm kind of weird. It's kind of short for 4 days, but I don't know. You had Demu Berger, creator, deicide, enslaved, Gorgoroth. I hate that name because definitely a tongue twister.
Yeah.
Alcest, possessed, Marduk, perturbator, take or talk. I don't know, Taake. So, and pentagram, primordial, midnight, blood incantation, mayor, eternal champion. Bolzer, the ruins of Beverast, Aternus, negative plane, grave, miasma, Dolch, in Twilight's embrace, Stormkeep, Sigyn, and Isolai. So I'm sure I butchered a lot of those names because I'm sure it is in Nordic or some or Swedish or whatever that may be. Mm-hmm. Definitely different language. So, but anyway, it sounds like a pretty good little festival there. So,
yeah.
And then I got three more here, and then I'll turn it over to Chris. There was actually a lot of touring stuff out this week.
The week started off slow. I was actually a little worried.
Yeah. We had Vader's Revelation of the Week at North American 2023 tour with Christian and Decrepit Birth. That kicks off March 18th at the Nile Theater in Mesa, Arizona, and ends on April 17th at the Brick by Brick in San Diego, California. Then we had one I'm interested in, kind of Meshuggah and the Halo Effect. Of course, I'm not overseas, so I can't really get there, but I would love to see that.
Right.
Will hit the road across both Sweden and Norway starting this March. The Swedish dates will also feature Scar Symmetry and Orbit Culture, while the Norwegian dates will just be Meshuggah and Halo Effect. Mm-hmm. I'll just go down the list here because it's only like 7 dates, I think. So, March 31st, you had Sparbanken Skane Arena in Lund. April 1st, you had Conventum at Orebro. April 7th, Nolia Holland at Umeå. April 8th, Annexit in Stockholm. April 20th, Centrum Scene in Oslo. That's just Meshuggah and the Halo Effect. And then April 21st, I'm going to kill this one, Linkoping Concert Congress in Linkoping. April 22nd, Partille Arena in Partille. So, there they are. There's Victor. Victor's in the house too. So,
good morning to Victor.
You say it's like genies, man. You say their names and they appear. So
that's right.
So funny. We were just talking about you and Dana, and both of you guys just pop up in the chat. So,
within 10 minutes.
Yep. Yeah, that's pretty funny. And then Bleeding Through has just announced a handful of 2023 dates from February to April. The February dates take place throughout California and feature Of Sulfur as openers, while the rest are just Bleeding Through by themselves. There's just a few dates here for that, too. You got February 24th in Roseville, California at Goldfields Trading Post with Of Sulfur. February 25th in Santa Cruz, California at Catalyst Atrium with Of Sulfur. And then the last with Of Sulfur is at February 26th, Fresno, California at the Full Circle Brewery. March 4th in Columbus, Ohio, King of Clubs. March 10th, San Diego, California, Brick by Brick. March 11th, Mesa, Arizona at the Nile. And then April 1st in Anaheim, California at the Chain Reaction. So that is all that I had for hitting the road.
All right. So as far as hitting the road for this week, for my contribution, starting off at the PRP.com, like always, Skeletal Remains has scheduled some headlining shows that were going to be off dates from their tour with Morbid Angel, Revocation, and Crypta. Those dates are March 10th at Tucson, Arizona at The Rock, March 11th in Albuquerque, New Mexico at Sister Bar, March 12th in San Antonio, Texas at Vibes Underground, and April 5th in Iowa City, Iowa at Gabe's. Belphegor, Campfire, and Hideous Divinity are going to be going on a tour of Europe. Devil's Rage will be the opener from March 9th in Copenhagen, Denmark at Stengade, finishing March 19th in Erfurt, Germany at From Hell. Then Leech is going to take over as the opener on March 21st in Warsaw, Poland at Proxima, and that will finish March 27th in Oulu, Finland at Kanta Kruvi. Candy, Fleshwater, and Division of Mind are going to be going on a tour of the East Coast in February, starting February 9th in Providence, Rhode Island at AS 220, finishing February 17th in Philadelphia, PA at the Photo Club. Norma Jean, Fire from the Gods, and Greyhaven will be going out starting February 3rd in Anaheim, California at the Parish at the House of Blues, finishing March 5th in Los Angeles, California at 1720. No Nashville date there. No Nashville date for the Candy, Fleshwater, and Division of Mind at the tour either. Unearth, Misery Index, and Year of the Knife are going to Europe and to the UK starting April 1st in Dortmund, Germany at Junkyard, finishing April 21st in Stockholm, Sweden at Slaktkirkon. Gel and Cold Brats are also going to Europe and to the UK, starting March 1st in Bern, Switzerland at ISC Club, finishing March 12th in Antwerp, Belgium at Baukenborg. Then moving over to blabbermouth.net, we have Life of Agony and Sick of It All going on a 30 Years of Agony tour, starting March 9th in Albany, New York at the Empire Underground, finishing April 1st in Stroudsburg, PA at the Sherman Theater. No Nashville date there. And then last but not least, like I say, it was a little bit of a shorter week this week. Saxon and Rage are going on a tour of Europe starting March 8th in Luxembourg City, Luxembourg at De Altier. That's going to be Saxon only. Then that will finish up on March 19th in Ulm, Germany at the Roxy. So that wraps up hitting the road for the week of the 17th through the 23rd.
I was just looking at the time. Let's go ahead and do that Slayer deal you were talking about. So
okay. All right, that's fine. Yeah, I actually saw this over at worshipmetal.com, and it's an opinion piece by Gavin O'Connor. It's called 6 Reasons Why Slayer's Rain and Blood is Not the Greatest Thrash Album of All Time. So like I say, just an opinion piece, but I figure it's something we could kind of talk about.
He's already wrong. So.
Well, yeah, basically, but it was kind of interesting. It was kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting to read anyway. So
yeah, I'm just kidding. So.
Yeah, so this is the story. Anyone with a passing interest in metal is aware of the numerous titles and awards the metal press and thrash fans bestow on Slayer's Rain and Blood, and it's often cited as the greatest thrash metal album of all time. But, and this is a colossal but, is it really the genre-defining be-all, end-all of thrash that we are led to believe? When was the last time you truly listened to Rain and Blood? Is it really the all-conquering piece of work that everyone says it is? Are we mad for even suggesting such a thing in the first place? Let's be fair, we're not questioning Rain and Blood's classic status or its impact and influence. Any album that contains one of the greatest metal songs of all time, namely Angel of Death, alongside the likes of Raining Blood and Altar of Sacrifice, couldn't be described as anything but classic after all. However, with closer inspection, it becomes apparent that Rain and Blood may not be the greatest thrash album of all time, and here's 6 reasons why. And it's kind of one of those stories that's like, okay, go to the next page and go to the next page. So it was kind of annoying in that aspect, but all right. So reason number 6, and of course, this does not come from us here at Metalheads Unite. So this is just an opinion piece from this author. Reason number 6 is the songs. Rain and Blood is home to a handful of classic tracks, but surely to be the greatest thrash album of all time, each and every one of its songs has to be untouchable, and let's be honest with ourselves here, not every song on Rain and Blood hits the mark. The likes of Epidemic, Postmortem, and Reborn, to name but 3, are fairly generic blasts of hyperspeed thrash. The buzzsaw riff just bulldoze along and are nothing spectacular, while Lombardo clatters away in the background. This is also meant to be the album in which Slayer embraced the real world, and they do, to a point, especially on the aforementioned Angel of Death, tackling the hypocrisy of organized religion on Jesus Saves and getting into the mind of a lunatic and criminally insane. But apart from that, the lyrics are just the usual gore and Satanism nonsense that could have been thrown together by any teenager. Song-wise, Rain and Blood is not the strongest album in the world, with, dare we say it, a few filler tracks appearing along the way, and Slayer would go on to improve and developed their songwriting skills massively over the next handful of albums. Moving on to the next page. Reason number 5, performance. Thrash metal is all about speed, power, and aggression. While thrash fans like nothing more than to see our bands push themselves to the limit, sometimes it gets to the point where blinding speed becomes plain ridiculous, and listening to Rain and Blood can leave you with the feeling that the whole thing is about to fall apart at any second. A plus point to some, but also a bugbear to many. A prime example of this is the guitar work of Kerry King and the sadly departed Jeff Hanneman, arguably author of Slayer's greatest tracks. At times, the duo play at frankly ridiculous speeds, and their solos on tracks such as Piece by Piece and Necrophobic amount to a screaming blur of notes that at times sound less like solos and more like a whining Jack Russell receiving a well-aimed boot to the knackers. That leads us on to Tom Araya. We can all agree that there are a few more thrilling sounds than his throat-lacerating scream that opens Angel of Death. However, this album is hardly home to his finest vocal performance. His lines are delivered at such speed on the likes of Postmortem and Reborn that he had and still has issues with performing them live. Fortunately, his vocals were much improved on Seasons of the Abyss, when some much-needed melody was added. Even Dave Lombardo, one of thrash metal's finest sticksmen, at times sounds like he's about to fall off his drum stool from the sheer exertion of it all, especially when his double bass really kicks in towards the end of Angel of Death. Given time, the band would refine their sound, and Slayer have put in far superior performances on albums that deserve to be held in as high esteem as Rain and Blood. Number 4 is sound. One of Rain and Blood's often discussed merits is its production, but Rick Rubin's input actually came with its own problems, one being that all the instruments are ramped up to the max with the guitars churning and thrashing away in pretty much an indistinguishable mess. There's a bass in there somewhere, but it's forever fighting to be heard beneath the mass of guitars, and the mix is so in your face that to listen to the album at any reasonably loud volume becomes more than a tad annoying. We get it. This is thrash metal. It's not meant to be pretty, but it'd be nice if it wasn't such a pain to listen to. King and Hanneman were one of the finest guitar tag teams to grace thrash metal, each having their own individual nuance and style, yet over the course of Rain and Blood, they just blast away, drowning out almost everything else, and the production stifles their sound rather than giving it a chance to shine. And number 3, it's seriously overhyped with an exclamation mark in the headline. Whew, boy. Rain and Blood is a classic album. That much is beyond dispute, but over the years, people have gotten too caught up in the ridiculous hype surrounding it. Kerry King has been quoted saying, quote, "If you released Rain and Blood today, no one would give a shit. It was timing. It was a change in sound. In thrash metal at that time, no one had ever heard good production on a record like that. It was a bunch of things that came together at once." End quote. Who are we to argue? While Rain and Blood may have been a thing of wonder back in 1986, its status, though hardly diminished, in 2015 as the quintessential thrash album should be under question. Fans and critics rattle on about the running time of 10 songs in just 29 minutes as if that alone raises an album to legendary status. It's an album with short songs, so of course the running time is going to be quick. Only 2 tracks run over the 4-minute mark, and the rest are between 2 and 3 minutes long, so really the running time should be no big surprise. If we are going to go down this route, then surely Lawnmower Death's "Oh Crikey, It's Lawnmower Death" is the greatest thrash metal album of all time, simply because it contains a whopping 23 songs in under 40 minutes. The metal press are also fond of bestowing Rain and Blood with titles like Heaviest Album of All Time and Most Intense Album, but these people are just talking nonsense. You want intense and heavy, then have a listen to something like Neurosis's Through Silver and Blood, the oral equivalent of a schoolyard bully giving poor old Rain and Blood a right kicking behind the bike sheds. Deep breath now. Worst of all is that when you listen to the album now, it's actually a bit dull. Yes, Angel of Death and a handful of tracks where we've already mentioned are in a league of their own, but most of the album just speeds by in a blur of thrashing, repetitive riffle, and screamed/barked lyrics with nothing to really distinguish one track from the other. There, we said it. You said it.
Yes.
All right, number 2, it's not even Slayer's best album, again, with an exclamation mark. How can Rain and Blood be the greatest thrash album of all time when it's not even the greatest Slayer album? That title, if we are being honest with ourselves, should go to Seasons in the Abyss. Seasons has better songwriting, benefits from a better sound. It's just better all around. By 1990, the band had realized that thrash is not always all about incomprehensible speed and brought in haunting melody, as evidenced on the quite frankly outstanding Dead Skin Mask. The centerpiece of the album, Dead Skin Mask, and Seasons in the Abyss as a whole benefited greatly from an increase in melody and controlled tempo changes, their maturity adding multiple layers to their sound. Still need some blistering speed and full tilt thrash? Just try War Ensemble or Born of Fire on for size. All told, by 1990, Slayer were a far superior band to the one that recorded Rain and Blood. The songs are simply better, both lyrically and musically, and the performances tower over what came before. Both Kerry King and Jeff Hanneman had fully developed into a devastating team with arrangements that allowed the songs room to breathe, in turn making their albums sound more sinister and brutal. And, number one, their reason why Rain and Blood may or may not be the greatest thrash metal album of all time is there are better thrash albums out there, again, with an exclamation point in the headline. Of course, there are also other title contenders that fully deserve the greatest thrash album. The title of greatest thrash album, excuse me. Megadeth released a technical thrash metal masterclass in Rust in Peace. Power, speed, aggression, and phenomenal musicianship make this a strong contender, although to be fair, as with Rain and Blood, not every song is top-notch, and both Lucretia and Poison Was the Cure slightly let the album down. Another possible contender is Megadeth's Peace Sells, but who's buying? How a bunch of coke and heroin ravaged lunatics were able to come up with the songs and levels of performance found on this album, God only knows. There's also Dark Angel's Darkness Descends, Exodus is Bonded by Blood, Anthrax is Among the Living, and Violence's Eternal Nightmare to consider. And not forgetting Master of Puppets. This is a piece of work Metallica will never surpass. Some may say Ride the Lightning is the better album, and while it's a classic, it's undeniably let down by the drudgery of Scape and Trapped Under Ice. Master of Puppets, on the other hand, has I know, I agree with you. Master of Puppets, on the other hand, has no weak links. Everything about this album is top-notch, and it remains an intelligent and thought-provoking piece of work to this day, and trumps Rain and Blood to the title of greatest thrash album of all time. So, there you have it. 6 reasons why Slayer's Rain and Blood is not the greatest thrash album of all time. While this feature may come across a tad harsh at times, make no mistake, Worship Metal are huge fans of Rain and Blood, and we're simply pointing out that it does have its flaws. So give the album another blast, but to be honest, it does have its faults, and that's fine. It's still a classic, just not the untouchable epitome of thrash perfection it's often made out to be. Disagree? Feel free to leave your opinions in the comment section below, but be nice now. Let's talk Slayer.
Did you? Did you leave a comment?
I didn't. No, I
didn't. Dana said his favorite Slayer album is South of Heaven, and Victor said his favorite Slayer album is Show No Mercy. So,
well, see, there you go. I mean, again, you know that. Again, I knew that was an opinion piece, and in all honesty, for me, I would say Seasons in the Abyss is probably my favorite Slayer album as far as from front to back. But I mean, as far as like iconic songs, I mean, you're probably talking Angel of Death or Rain and Blood, you know. So
yeah.
But I mean, you know, again, I knew that was an opinion piece, and you know, we all know what people say about opinions, you know. So, I just thought it was kind of, interesting, you know, and in all honesty, kind of, honestly, kind of ballsy, if I'm being honest. But
I was just curious, since I was already on Spotify. I like flipped over and seen like what album, you know, where I had the most likes from Slayer, and it is Seasons in the Abyss. So, so I would probably have to agree with that. So,
yeah,
of course, my favorite songs on that album, Skeletons of Society. So,
Oh, and before we forget, yes, Victor, Merry Christmas to you too, buddy. We appreciate it. So yeah, I just thought that was kind of interesting. You know, truth be told, I mean, he doesn't make like the worst argument.
Well, no, I mean, yeah, he's got some good points there. I think
he does have some good points.
And I think it depends on. I mean, if you're a huge Megadeth fan, you're going to say, "Oh yeah, you know, Peace Sells is way better than that," or if you're a huge Metallica fan, you're going to be like, "Oh yeah, Master of Puppets blew that away." In which, I mean, if you're talking about all those albums, I would have to go with Master of Puppets because I think it was more of a complete album. You know.
Yep, me too.
You know, solid album. So. So yeah, to say it's the best thrash album, I mean, you know, who said that though? Who said it was the best thrash album? I mean, that's the thing.
Well,
it's like,
I think I think basically he's more or less. He doesn't really cite any specific source, but he says, you know, he says in the first line, said anyone with a passing interest in metal is aware of the numerous titles and awards the metal press and thrash fans bestow on Rain and Blood, and often cited as the greatest thrash album of all time. So basically he's just making more of like a general, like he's basically saying the general consensus is that Raining Blood is the greatest album of all time as far as thrash metal is concerned. But then, he goes on and, makes a case for, but is it really though? So.
Right. Yeah, like I said, he's sure on. Like I say, he's got points. All right. Well, I guess we'll keep this thing moving. So
keep rolling.
Yeah. You gotta do it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, get the hand going.
Yeah. Yeah, the Undertaker's gonna start driving his motorcycle through our living rooms.
Right through the screen, man.
That's right.
All right. I guess we will switch over to this week in metal history, since we only got 2 more weeks of this segment.
Yeah. I'll be honest, part of me is relieved a little bit. I don't know why.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, it's we've done this segment for
from the beginning.
Yeah, going on 2 years. So I think we pretty much covered everything in history. That I mean, history is history. History doesn't change much unless you're unless you're the government and you're trying to erase a lot of it. But
yeah, that's true.
Victor says, of course, there are great bands nowadays. To me, I love bands like Exodus, Angels Apatrida, some very underground bands like Bat, Killing, Tymo, and Savage Aggression.
Yeah.
So
that's
agree with.
Yeah, Victor. That's
Angels Apatrida has definitely become one of our favorites. So.
Oh yeah, they are one of my favorites out there now. But see, that's just that's another perfect example of and. This is I actually can't believe I forgot about this until just now, especially when you were reading the headlines a little bit ago. One of the headlines I remember seeing was, and he had a birthday this week too. Millie Petroza of Creator, he had a headline saying that thrash metal, in and of itself is in a healthy state right now.
Yeah, I meant to do that one too. And I couldn't find it again.
And well, if I remember right, I saw it on Blabbermouth. There was a headline over there. So and I think he's right. And and what Victor just posted, I mean, is a great example of that. You got Exodus in there. We just talked about Slayer, and of course, Slayer retired. Unfortunately, we all know that. But Exodus is still around. Angels Apatrida. I don't know if you could technically consider them an up and coming band, but I guess in the grand scheme of things, I guess you kind of could. But
I mean, they're 5 albums in, so I mean, it's like
I guess
been around for a while. So.
Yeah, you could technically call them an up and coming band. We're trying to do the best we can here at the Metalheads Unite podcast to try to get their name out there more.
You could say that since they just made their first tour of North America. I mean,
yeah, so you could still say that, but Then Victor, he cites underground bands, Bat, Killing, Tymo, and Savage Aggression. So even with all of the mainstream or the headliners, I use those in quotes because there's really no, because our genre of music isn't really in the mainstream anymore, which is fine. But they would be mainstream bands for us, like household names. But and Death Angel, exactly. You can't forget about Death Angel. Yeah. So
Testament.
Death Angel, Testament, Exodus, all guys like that.
Yeah. I tell you, another up and coming thrash band is Hellfire. I mean, their new album was amazing. So,
and that's the thing is, even though you got bands like that, only people who are, I don't want to say true metalheads, but I guess you would have to be a quote unquote true metalhead and devote a lot of time to the genre like we do and like Victor and Dana do to really know because you have to go out and actually look for some of these bands, which is unfortunate, but you have to actually go out and look and kind of discover them for yourself. So, but even having said that, it just goes to show that there is plenty of music to go around. And like I say, the state of the genre is just fine. It's just fine.
I mean, you look at the bands we've talked to on the show. I mean, Extinction AD,
Mm-hmm.
and Eyes of the Living. I mean, you talk about all these bands that we've talked to too. So I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and like I said, they've they're getting out there. I mean, Extinction AD is posting new shows every damn week. Seems like
I
so.
know, man.
So
Their
so
2023 is looking like a banger, man.
yeah, so they're definitely getting around and out there. So which we have to catch them if they ever come back here. But
Mm-hmm.
and then of course Halo Scars is going to be in Nashville pretty soon, so we'll have to go catch that show too.
We're
So
definitely going to go see that one. Yeah.
and
Thankfully, that show is actually the Halo Scar show is actually on a Saturday night. So
yeah, there you go. So yeah. So, all right, we will switch over to this weekend metal history real quick. Not much going on here. Like I think I got like 4 stories here. So
yeah, I've
December.
got a little under a page.
Yeah, so yeah, we're getting down to the end of the stuff anyway. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Dana says that
February 18th
February
at the
18th at the
404.
404. Yep.
That's right.
Let's see. December 19th, 1991, Joe Cole, an American roadie for Black Flag and the Rollins Band, was shot and killed in an armed robbery. Cole and Henry Rollins had attended a Hole concert at the Whiskey A Go Go and were returning home after having stopped at an all night grocery store when 2 armed men described as black males in their 20s approached them demanding money. Angry that Rollins and Cole only had $50 between them, the gunman ordered the 2 men to go inside their house for more cash. Rollins entered at gunpoint. However, Cole was killed outside after being shot in the face at close range, while Rollins escaped out the back door and alerted the police. The murder remains unsolved. Cole is remembered in the Sonic Youth songs JC and 100% on their album Dirty, which I don't think I've ever read that story before. It's pretty fucking crazy. No. December 22nd, 1987, Nikki Sixx from Motley Crue was pronounced dead on arrival in an ambulance when his heart stopped beating for 2 minutes. Sixx was given 2 shots of adrenaline in his chest to revive him. Fellow band members were prematurely informed of his death, which, that's all covered in the dirt. But watch that. But that is actually in there. So.
Yep.
December 23rd, 2005, Geezer Butler, the bass player with Black Sabbath, offered £5,000 for any information leading to the safe return of Toga, a 3-month-old penguin that had been stolen from a zoo on the Isle of Wight a few days earlier. That's what I'm saying, man. See, we, metalheads have a heart. So. Then last but not least, December 23rd, 1985, Judas Priest fans Raymond Belknap and James Vance shot themselves after listening to the Judas Priest album Stained Class. The 2 had drunk beer, smoked marijuana, and listened to hours of the album. Afterwards, they took a shotgun to a nearby school playground where Belknap shot and killed himself. Vance suffered serious injuries but lived for more than 3 years before dying of the effects from the shooting. Damn, actually living 3 years from that and still dying. Oh, man, that's horrible. But anyway, we all know how that case turned out. They were dismissed. So,
yeah, I see Victor's story.
Yeah, I was reading that too. So.
Yeah, and actually, he at the Tennessee Metal Devastation Festival, he actually kind of he told me the story about how he actually basically became a metalhead. And Victor, if you don't mind me telling the story, he was telling me that he was going to school and he found a cassette tape on the floor at school, and it was a cassette tape that had a bunch of metal bands on it, and he had actually started listening to the cassette tape. And he said that there was a female classmate of his who was always really, really quiet and didn't talk to anybody really, kind of kept to herself. And one day she actually noticed that he had the cassette. I guess he was like maybe turning it over in his Walkman or something and all that stuff, and had kind of asked Victor where he had gotten the cassette tape. And he said he found it on the floor, I think in the hallway. Well, he said that he had gone to the bathroom or gone to, I think it was actually, he went to, I think it was at lunch actually, if I remember correctly. Victor, you could correct me if I'm wrong. Well, he was listening to, his Walkman and everything, and he went to go get something to eat. He came back and the tape wasn't in his Walkman anymore, and he never saw the girl again.
Damn. See, this could have been a damn, meet your soulmate moment or something. What the hell's wrong with her? Oh man.
So Victor, I hope I recounted the story correctly, because I know you told me that story back in October. So
yes,
yep, he went to the cafeteria. That's right.
That's a crazy story.
Yeah. It's a cool story, though.
It is cool. I can't believe
it
was cool that that's what I'm saying. Like you get turned on to something, sometimes by accident,
Mm-hmm.
and we always said in professional wrestling that the best things in professional wrestling always happen by accident. And it's true. Like, if you go back and look at those things, like the Stone Cold thing was kind of an accident. It wasn't meant to be anything special at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and then it blew up into something big. But I'm just saying, like, all those things happen like that, and that does in music too. I mean, just like I said with some of the things, I'm sure like a lot of these bands are fucking around or something, and then they're like, damn, that's actually a good song, and then like it winds up on a damn album. I've heard that, by plenty of bands.
Well, yeah, I know we talked about the story once where Angus Young said that he came up with "Highway to Hell" on the toilet.
Yeah, yes. I mean,
and shit like that.
So inspiration comes from a lot of places. Somewhere.
Yeah, so
maybe that's where his toilet, flushed to. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know.
Victor said the bands on that cassette were Scorpions, Heart, Whitesnake, and Rainbow, which
for
that time frame was like the big bands. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you definitely could have done worse in 1983 than those bands right there. So
yeah.
It does still, it does still kind of, it does, like you said, it is kind of surprising that, that she saw him listening to the tape, and then instead of like, hey, we kind of have something in common. Let's kind of,
let's go to a show or something. It's she stole her shit. Like,
she stole the cassette and ran off, and then he never saw her
again. The thing was, she didn't ask for it back. Like, hey, that's mine.
Right.
Or, nothing like that. That's what was weird. It's like,
yeah, because I mean, hell yeah, she could have had a new metalhead friend. So
because I'm sure Victor, she said that was hers, Victor would have gave it back to her.
Oh, he would have. I know he would have.
But she didn't even ask or anything. She just just took it back.
Yeah,
it's a bad way to find out who it belonged to, I guess. But
that's true.
Oh man. All right, man. I guess we can move. Oh, never mind. You got.
I was about to say. I was just about to ask. Did you have all yours? Okay.
Yep, I'm done with mine. Yep. So.
All right. So
do your part there. So.
All right. So this week in metal history, brought to you this week by Dr. Feelgood and Ms. Hyde on Facebook. I guess Metalhead Marv kind of packed it in as far as the historical releases for the year, but that's fine. Hey, it's whatever.
He's on vacation.
Yeah, he might be. That's totally fine. So for the week of the 17th through the 23rd, leading off with 12/17/2010, Tankard releases Volume 14. 12/17 of 14, Angra releases Secret Garden, and 12/17 of 89, Brittany Fox releases Boys in Heat. 12/19 of 08, Legion of the Damned releases Cult of the Dead, and Tankard releases Thirst. 12/19 of 01, Rhapsody releases Reign of a Thousand Flames, and 12/19 of 90, London releases Playa del Rock. 12/21 of 87, Victory releases Hungry Hearts. 12/21 of 09, Mudvayne releases a self-titled album, which debuted at number 54 on the Billboard 200. And 12/21 of 12, Flotsam and Jetsam releases Ugly Noise. 12/22 of 99, Camelot releases The Fourth Legacy. 12/22 of 08, Marty Friedman releases Future Addict. And last but not least, 12/23 of 89, Death SS releases Black Mass. So those are the historical releases for the 17th through the 23rd of December this week in metal history.
Short list there.
Mm-hmm. Not quite as short as last week. I actually thought that was funny that there was only 6 on the list that from last week. That was ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yep, so we're coming down to the wire there. So we've only got one more week of this week in metal history before we move on, and we've already got a couple of things in the works for 2023 that we've been considering to take their place. So
yep.
You guys will find out about that at the beginning of the next year.
Yeah, next week's list will probably be as short as Peter Dinklage,
but probably. Probably.
Call me Elf one more time. He's an angry elf.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, you gotta make her, get the Christmas spirit in there. So, Speaking of which, I don't know if you've Victor and Dana. Don't know if you've seen on our site there. We have the Christmas playlists. So if you want to check that out, your favorite songs on there, Dana. Just saying. Yeah, something to get you in the Christmas spirits. All right, we'll click over to our metal theme of the week, which Chris has been kicking around the ideas for the last couple of weeks, which has been pretty cool. So I got a list here, but he's still kicking them around, so I'll let him do it.
Hey,
when we get to a stalemate, then I'll pull them out, I guess. But
yeah, see, there we go.
But long as we're still kicking something around, but they've been pretty good suggestions. So I'm all for it. So keeps me from thinking. So
yeah, I'm sure at some point we'll kind of run out of ideas. So
yeah, man. Well, that's when we'll just start doing something like band per band or something.
Yeah, we could do that. I already
something to that extent. So
I already think we could. I already think that if we get really, really, pressed for stuff to do, we could just start at the beginning of the alphabet and go all the way through.
Yeah, yeah. We appreciate if you have any updates on the Tennessee Devastation festival lineup 2023. They haven't announced anything yet. So.
Yeah, we haven't heard yet, but we will. That's one, especially since it's a local festival. We hear anything, we will definitely get that.
I honestly think it would probably be Marchish, probably. I would think
probably,
just because it's about 6 months before the actual festival. So that's usually about the routine for these festivals about 6 months before. So. The Facebook page Metal Ram usually has a pretty decent metal history list every night. That's our source for today in rock and metal history at Metal and Tass. Oh,
I was wondering where Krista got hers from.
Cool, we appreciate that. Yeah. So
and want to say hi to Victor's sister Rosemary. Hello.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming by.
So our metal theme of the week this week was machinery. Interesting choice, I think. So I went through and I had a few that hit me right out the gate, and then I thought about. I said, well, I'm gonna see if there's anything with just. So I just went through Spotify for a little bit. Then I went to the metal Encyclopedia Metallum for a little bit of to round it off. So
well, see, that's the funny thing is the funny thing was the theme actually didn't pop into my head first. I was actually at work and I just, for some reason, I don't even know why, I just started thinking of different songs. I was like, that's 3 or 4 songs based on machines. That should just be the next fucking theme.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I do the same thing. I'll be riding down the road. I'm like, and then I'll think of that one. Say, that's kind of in this category. And I was like, I wonder what else I can think of. And then it's boom, boom, boom. It's like, okay, we're just going to roll with that. So
yeah. So I had 3 or 4, right off the top of my head. It's like, I'm just going to suggest that be the next category. So it's kind of how that happened.
It don't matter how it happens. We just make do with it.
That's right. They don't ask how; they just ask how many. So
yeah, 17 in a row, according to Steel Panther. But
that's right.
What were we talking about again?
I don't think it was that. I don't think it was that.
Anyway, metal theme of the week was machinery. I'll go through mine here. I think I got 13. 1, 2, 3. 14. Okay. Well,
yeah,
I didn't know I had that many.
Yeah, I ended up with 15. So
it should make for an interesting playlist. Even if we have a couple of overages, that's fine. So
yeah.
Of course, I expect to have at least 1 or 2, but
so do I.
I kicked mine off with Machine Head Bulldozer from the Supercharger 2001 album. Of course, you got Machine and Bulldozer in that one. There you go, 2 for 1.
That's right.
Two for.
Got a 2 for.
This one, this one came into my head because I don't think a lot of people know about this band, but I took a band called Wilson. There's a song they got called Dump Truck from the Tasty Nasty album in 2018. They're pretty wild band.
Was that the band that was on the Steel Panther bill? Is it that
Wilson? Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, because I actually seen them at the festival first, and then they opened up for Steel Panther when we sang.
Okay.
I was like, I can't believe that. It's pretty cool. Then I took Kilgore Steamroller from a Search for a Reason in 1998. Then I went with Skullflower Machinery of Torment from the Netflix film Metal Lords in 2022.
Oh, nice.
Which I still haven't watched that movie. I need to watch.
I haven't either.
Then I went with Meshuggah, the Exquisite Machinery of Torture from the Chaosphere album in 1998. Then I went with Rage Machinery from Reign of Fear in 1986. Then I went with Creator Slave Machinery from Violent Revolution in 2001. Then I went with Destruction Machinery of Lies, All Hell Breaks Loose in 2000. Then I went with Creep, Concrete Mixer from Leave 2010. Then Within the Ruins, went with Tractor from the Creature album in 2009. Then I went with Exodus, Shovel-Headed Kill Machine from the Shovel-Headed Kill Machine album in 2005. I don't know why I almost said 2015 for some reason, but damn. Then I went with Born of Osiris Machine from Tomorrow We Die Alive, 2013. Anvil, Mankind Machine from Hope in Hell 2013. And then last but not least, I went with Death Angel Resurrection Machine from the Killing Season 2008.
I'm surprised that was last but not least on your list. Because I actually left that one off my list on purpose. I was like, that's a Death Angel song. I know that's definitely going to list. Well, I mean, and for good reason too. But yeah.
Yeah.
I knew.
Well, I think it was one of those. I think I had it like hanging around, and I was like, well, we'll see what else I can come up with. And then kind of only got to 13. I said, well, I'm just going to call it a night and just add that one in last. So.
Right. Yeah. All right. So my list for the theme of the week, leading off, I had Beneath the Machine by Sanctity off of Road to Bloodshed from 2007. Then I'll get the doubles out of the way. I had Shovel-Headed Kill Machine by Exodus, Slave Machinery from Creator, and Machinery of Lies by Destruction. Then I had Metal Machine by Sabaton off of Primo Victoria from 2005. I had Time Machine by Accept off Blood of the Nations from 2010. I had Deity Machine off of Artillery by Penalty by Perception from 2016. Then I had Turning of the Gears by Warbringer off of 4 Empire's Collapse from 2013. Then I had Gears by Lamb of God off of their self-titled album from 2020. Then I had Mean Green Killing Machine by Overkill off the Grinding Wheel from 2017. I could have also put that. I could have put the title track on there.
Yeah,
the Grinding Wheel. So then I had Mean Machine by Dream Evil off of In the Night from 2010. I had Mind Machine by Primal Fear off of Black Sun from 2002. Then I had Black Hate Machine by A Perfect Murder off of Strength Through Vengeance from 2005. Yeah. Which, by the way, Encyclopedia Metallum has them listed as active.
Are you serious? I thought
they are listed. I thought they had too, but Encyclopedia Metallum has them listed as active, which I thought was.
Well, maybe they'll get back to.
I hope so.
Some new music. So. That'd be great.
Yeah, it would. Number 14, I had the Nihilist.
They could take the Pantera reunion as a chance because they sound a lot like them. So.
They really do. Yeah. Then number 14, I had the Nihilist Machine by Savage Messiah off of Insurrection Rising from 2009. And then number 15, my last one, I went with the band. I went with Machine Head. I went with Halo off the Blackening from 2007. So
I bet say like Machine Head, Bulldozer, and the Rage Machinery song was 2. I thought for sure we'd have overages on. It wasn't even the 3 that we did. Well, actually, Exodus, I kind of figured we would too. So
yeah. Well, I thought. Wait a minute. I thought I had a. I must have. I don't know why, but I thought I actually had a song by Rage on here. I guess I don't. Oh well. I thought I did at one point.
That's kind of like the Death Angel with me. I was like, he'll probably have this, but Oh well.
Yeah, I thought I had, like I say, I thought I had a song by Rage on here at one point. Maybe I did. If I did, I don't know why I would have deleted it. But
Hey, yeah, add those in. We'll put that list out there. Add those in. If not,
yeah,
we'll do it. But later in the week. But
yes,
add those.
yeah,
Add
see,
those. Yeah, Dana, I can add those in. So
yeah, yeah,
big,
absolutely.
big truck. Oh
That's
yeah,
a
Megadeth
yeah,
Mechanics. Yeah, I forgot about that song. That's what I'm
absolutely.
saying. Like we can't. We don't think of everything. So
Yeah, that's right.
uh,
So yeah, we'll get as always, we'll get that list compiled and collaborated on. We'll get it posted for you guys as soon as we can.
give me just a second. I'll put the playlist from last week up here real quick.
Cool. Yeah, last week's theme was the calendar. So
Yep. There you go.
all right, and there is the link to that playlist.
So I actually got the weekly playlist up early this week. So
Yeah, I noticed that. That's cool
thought
though.
I thought about it. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw it up there now because I'll forget halfway through the show, and then I'll be shuffle throwing everything together. But
Right. Well, and you don't really want to do anything last minute, especially this weekend either, with all the Christmas stuff going on too.
yeah,
So.
yeah, we got stuff going on around 2, so that's kind of why I was
Yeah.
looking at the time, making sure I don't overstep too much. So.
Well, I don't think you're gonna have to worry about it too much this week. We're already at noon, and we're down to the last segment of the show.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Well, like I said, it's going to get shorter with not a lot of news going on and
Right.
End of the year type stuff. So it's bound to happen. So, like I
Mm-hmm.
said, next week I definitely make up for it with all the end of year reviews.
So. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, all of the stuff from the last 12 months. Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, I guess we can switch over to album reviews. Like I said, there wasn't a whole lot from the playlist or from the
Yeah, there really wasn't.
heavy music. HQ didn't have a lot. Well, I mean, they had stuff listed there, but there wasn't a lot as far as like on Spotify or anything you could actually listen to. I couldn't find it anywhere. A lot of it, so
It's kind of weird.
But Dana was messaging us in our group chat. So.
Yeah, I saw it.
But anyway, so we've been having to last couple of weeks. I have anyway. I've been having to try to search on YouTube because I noticed that Tani from our Facebook group, she posts a lot of stuff from YouTube on there from new albums. So I was like, yeah, I'll switch over there and search a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So and I've been able to find a couple. So it's pretty good. So. And the thing is they're not on Spotify, so I can't listen to it on Spotify. I had to listen to it on YouTube. So any way we can get new music out there, that's what
absolutely
we want to do. So
and you mentioned her. We definitely want to give a shout out to Tani too for posting what she does. I mean, between the music she posts and then like the because she also posted a show poster earlier this week too. So.
Yeah. So then she's pretty active on the Metal and Tats page as well.
Yes, she is.
So very very good contributor to content, which we very much appreciate. So
absolutely.
So I found this album on YouTube. It's a band called Highways, and the album's Breaking the Code. This band was formed in 2020, so very very new band in Lincoln, Nebraska. It says here, Highways was started by Joe Coleman from the Cobras and Gallows Majesty as a songwriting project in Lincoln, Nebraska in December 2020. In collaboration with artists around the world, the debut album consists of members from Osorno, Chile, Kyiv, Ukraine, Lagos State, Nigeria, and Chennai, India. Which it is crazy because I've seen these names and I said, "There's no way these guys are all Americans." So.
No,
I mean it's cool because I mean, like I said, it's definitely crazy because I seen a picture and I'm like, man, this is like the most diverse band group I've ever seen. I think because it had like an Indian and an Iranian and then a Nigerian, and then an
Yeah.
American. So
Yeah.
I was like, wow, this is crazy, but it's pretty awesome to see that come together. Like I said, metal brings people together. Man. So,
It does.
yeah.
It really does.
Imagine that, bringing people from 4 different parts of the world together for a project. So it's pretty fucking awesome. And may have to reach out to them to come over and tell that story because I'm kind of interested in how it
Yeah, the origin story, absolutely. Good Lord.
Love it. So this is the band's second album. They had an album, Texas is Coming for You, in 2021, and then of course Breaking the Code this year. So they're staying relatively busy. So
yeah, they are.
The current members are Marvin Masak on bass, Vinay Ramakrishnan on drums, Ole Andrzejewski on guitars, and Carlos Molina on vocals and guitars. So actually no. Let's see. Oh, so the Joe Coleman guy's not even in the band. He just writes the songs. Oh, okay, gotcha. I kind of threw me off. I was like, wait a minute, I mentioned 5 names earlier. I was like, okay. Anyway, I'm gonna double check that because that's kind of weird. I just want to make sure I get all of my information correct. I mean, I don't want to discredit somebody, That's
right.
Pretty sure that's let's see, members. Oh yeah, just list the 4. Okay. So I don't know what Joe. I don't guess Joe just writes. Okay, cool deal. Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah,
I just want to make sure I don't. Like I said, I don't want to give. I want to give credit where credit's due. So,
of course.
So, like I said, this is their second full-length album. 8 songs, 35 minutes, 53 seconds. So, pretty decent listen. I do like the fact that it's got like an old school metal feel to it. I like a lot of these bands have gotten to do that. Like I mentioned this before, but they take that old school sound, kind of put a new school spin on it, and it creates something new, and it still sounds a little old school as well. So it's kind of it's kind of different, I think. So, the guitars on this album, and you're gonna like trip out when I say this. The guitars on this album reminded me of George Lynch in his early Dokken days. Like,
oh no shit.
Yeah, man. I'm like, seriously, like I was listening to it and I said, dude, this sounds like some old school Dokken. This is pretty cool.
Nice.
So yeah, so I thought, and then of course vocally, I think it had a little Halloween and Metal Church type vibe to it from the early, late 80s, early 90s Halloween and Metal Church. The guitar riffs and drum beats were great. Like I said, I think it was more, with that aspect of it, it sounded a lot like Dokken. You could take Dokken and then throw the singers from Halloween or Metal Church in there. Of course, Mike from Metal Church is no longer with us, but you could take that voice and throw it in there and be like, that's what you got. So it's kind of crazy to mash up 2 bands like that. But I think that's what's going on. That kind of like goes back to Rick from Extinction AD talking about people mashing up different genres, and I think that's kind of what a lot of them are doing now. And then Carlos, the vocalist there, he got a lot of range. He carries very well. He can hold a note he held a note on one of them. I'm like, damn, is this dude ever going to let go? Like, it kind of reminded me of that old Steelheart, Never Let You Go. So,
yeah.
Dude was just like, damn, dude's carrying it. Hey, the song's only 4 minutes, dude. How long you gonna carry this stuff?
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's really, really, really good vocals there. So, and of course the album cover's cool too, so you can't go wrong there. So,
yeah,
I do feel like maybe in the future I would like to see them challenge themselves a little more with their sound, because I feel like it was more like a safe, just a safe bet for me as far as like listening to it.
You think because like I haven't listened to this yet, so you think maybe they need to find their own sound?
Well, I mean, I don't think that. I think they just need to like tweak it just a little bit more. I think they've
Okay.
tweaked it a little bit. I need to go back and listen to the first album just to see if they're progressing, you
Right.
know, any, or if it's just kind of like the repetitive sound. Um, but yeah, I haven't listened to the first album yet, which I probably will now since I just brought it up, so I have to write it down and make sure I listen to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really would like to. Really would like for them to challenge themselves a little more because I think vocally, he's the thing with vocals to me is he has like this mid range. He has like this high thing that he carries, and then real clean vocals are really good. But he has this mid range that's kind of, I don't know. It's not as crisp. I think.
A little.
So
He's got a little bit of rasp to it.
not really rasp. I just don't think it fits with the music compilation. So, um, where he's got the high screeching guitars and everything, and he's just here instead of where up here where I think he needs to be.
Okay, I got you.
Yes, yeah. So I think that's the only thing that really kind of threw me off. Other than that, I thought it was a great album. I'm going to give it 3.5 horns just because like I said, I thought it was a pretty good album, but. Like I said, they still got work to do. They're a younger band. They've only been around a couple of years, so I'm sure they'll figure it out and find their niche
yeah.
there. So
it sounds like another band that's got a good foundation, though.
they do, yeah. I think they do. I think we'll be hearing a lot more of this band. So
that would definitely work. You got coffee in that too?
no, that's just water, man.
I don't know if you guys saw the size of his fucking coffee.
Yeah, I still got it right here. So yes.
Yeah, look at the size of that damn thing.
they put out a bat signal for coffee, man.
Yeah, I know. Jesus Christ. Good God. Did you hear it when he put it down just then? Jesus.
I should have used that as a weapon in wrestling.
Yeah, you should have. Yeah. All right. The album that I reviewed the new album Doomsday Script by a band called Rune Lord, and this is actually one that Jason also pointed me to on YouTube. The album itself actually came out on December 7th, so it came out 3 weeks ago, but still it is a brand new album. Rune Lord, they are a power metal group from Sweden. It doesn't say exactly where they were formed.
What I thought was weird about this was it's on YouTube, but it's not on Spotify.
Right, it's not because they're
older albums there, but
it is because I actually just double checked just to make sure. I thought
that was really weird, but
yeah, who knows what that's all about? So they're not really a group. The group, as it is, consists of Cedric Forsberg on all instruments and Georgi Paichev on vocals. So this is another one of those kind of Spirit Adrift. Actually, it's a little bit closer to that one album that you reviewed a couple weeks ago.
Merciless Law.
Yes, Merciless Law. Yeah. It's a little bit more like that, where one guy plays all of the instruments, and then of course Merciless Law, that dude also sings. So he's basically a one-man band. So this is slightly different, where one guy does all the music and then another guy does all the vocals. But so this is the third album for this project. The first two actually came out in 2018, which I thought was kind of strange. But I guess if one comes out in January and one comes out in December, it still counts.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the case. I didn't look, but so I'm not exactly
sure. They could have been in the top 10 twice.
They could have. Yeah, could have. So not exactly sure where the band was formed, but like I say, Cedric Forsberg, he was born in Sandviken, Sweden. So who knows if that's where the band was actually formed. He's only 33 years old, so I mean, he's not even that old. But like I say, he plays all the instruments on the album. Georgi Paichev, who, let's see where he's from real quick, since we're actually talking about it, because I don't know where he's from. He's from Bulgaria. Okay, so doesn't say how old he is, so I'm not real sure. But it looks like he does a lot of. It actually looks like he does a lot of guest stuff, and actually he is listed as the vocalist on the other two Rune Lord albums. So I guess Cedric and Georgie are just, I guess the two of them are Rune Lord by themselves. So, So their lyrical themes are battles and heathen, which I guess, they're from Sweden, I guess that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Scandinavians. There's a lot of the Viking influence up there. Of course, we all know that, especially in Norway. So, 10 tracks long, 51 minutes and 28 seconds. So it's a little bit of a longer listen, but they are a power metal duo, I guess you just call them. So yeah, definitely right up my alley. I can definitely see why Jason would have pointed me in that direction. I really did enjoy the album a lot. It's insane to me that Cedric knows how to play the instruments as well as he does. And of course, obviously, since he's the one playing all the instruments, he does one at a time. He does all the drama,
Right.
but kind of knowing that and then listening to the album and kind of taking turns listening to, like, there'd be like a song or two where I would focus on the drums, I would focus more on the guitars, and then so I would take turns focusing on different aspects of the musical composition, considering that I knew that one guy was playing everything. So just the talent that he has, especially at only 33 years old, is ridiculous. So
Yeah.
the musical compositions were great. The only thing that I kind of had a little bit of a knock on is, like, the album kind of started falling into a little bit of a trap of repetition. So that's kind of, I was like, I was a little worried that it was going to get a little stale, but thankfully, towards the end of the album, um, there's a track called Bliss for Metalheads. It's track number 9. And then the title track, Rune Lord. Well, actually, it's not even the title track. I'm sorry. There's just a song called Rune Lord.
Yeah.
So the album kind of pulled out of that towards the end. So it kind of valleyed but they
Okay.
kind of saved it. They saved it towards the end. But I mean, the musical compositions, fan. I mean, the way he plays the drums, the guitar riffs, the guitar solos were great. Georgi Paichev's got a great voice. He definitely fits in the power metal genre. So, definitely understand why he'd be in the group. So he's definitely got the pipes for it. The high end of his vocal range, he does sound like King Diamond. So that was
Wow.
that was kind of interesting. So yeah, I'm gonna give the album 3.5 horns out of 5. Also, I did like it very much. If it wasn't for that fact that it kind of dipped and kind of valleyed a little bit there in the middle, I probably could have seen myself giving it 4 horns. But definitely worth a listen from start to finish. Like I say, 10 tracks, 50 minutes, so it's not too bad. It's not Rain and Blood. So it's not Rain and Blood, so you're gonna have to devote a little bit more time
nothing
to it than
is,
that,
right?
but-
I mean,
right, exactly. So it's not 10 tracks, 29 minutes long. So, but again, it was an easy listen. Of course,
Yeah.
being a power metal, power, thrash metal fan, it was definitely right up my alley. So yeah, 3.5 out of 5.
Cool.
May take some time to backtrack on the first couple albums, maybe after the first of the year when we're done with all of the 2022 recap stuff. So
Yeah. And good morning, Myrna. I'm glad you dropped in on us there. So,
yeah.
so what do we? Actually, before I get into what we got coming next, we want to let you know that I have some conversations with Merciless Loss. We're trying to set something up for next year. So,
Oh, nice.
yeah. So kind of interested to hear how he goes about doing all he does with
Yeah.
one person
And on the
doing all that's pretty awesome.
And on the bright side, you only have to worry about one dude having to clear time on his calendar. So.
Yeah, right. Man.
All right, so yeah,
what we got for next week?
Coming up for December 30th. Not a very long list, but what do you expect for the end of the year? Leading off, we have Bang Bang Firecracker with Speak Evil. That's one of the EPs. We have Feuerschwanz with Todd Sunden. We have Har Shaitan with Menem Iniser Aliqui. We have Lost in Bohemia with Volume 1. We have Nocturnal Departure with Clandestine Theurgy. We have New York Fury with I Want It All. We have Pagan Rites and Vulcan Tyrant with a split album. Then we have 3 re-releases from Red. We have Black Door Miracle, Collectors of the King, and In Nomine Satanas. Then we have Satanic War Master with with Amon Gander and Truth to Power with Claim Your Freedom, and that is also an EP. So that's it. That's the list for next week.
Short list. So
Mm-hmm.
if we don't find anything there or on James, one man bands are awesome. My favorite is James McBean and his band Hell Ripper.
Yeah,
they just had an album out, I think,
not too long ago.
Yeah,
and Victor, I remember you bringing them up when he was doing his when he was doing his Merciless Law review. I actually plan on taking some time to check that out.
Yeah, I didn't realize that Hell Ripper was one person either. So
yeah, cool. and not to before we forget, Dana, I did see your message about Ninja Ability, Arcan, and Diatom, those international bands that you were talking about. So I did take note of those too. So
cool.
Again, it's a perfect example of why it's cool to work together with other metalheads and other metalhead groups.
Because you never know, you might miss
something
that you might be into.
Yeah.
So
yeah, because as much as we would like to be, we're not the be all end all. So I mean, being able to work together and
the thing is, I don't think we ever want to be that. I think we just want to be contributors to to what we to what we believe is as part of the machine. So like that, did you?
Yeah, I did. Are you saying we're trying to feed the machine?
Oh God, don't. Although that may be one of the only Nickelback songs ever make a playlist. But
I was about to say, if anybody adds Nickelback to the playlist, they're banned for life. Which that's not true. I'm kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, unless it's one of their power ballad bullshits, but
that might actually be true. But I will say this. I'll say it on the record. I'm with you. Feed the Machine is actually a good song.
Yeah.
That's right. I said it.
Well, we just got canceled.
Yeah.
We
either got canceled or we got like 10 million new fans. Just right off.
Right. One of the other.
It's one or the other.
I wanted to bring something up. It's not really metal related, but I think it could be at some point. Just because of the way like the Facebooks and the YouTubes and stuff operate. If you really want to know how they operate, I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with the rapper Tom
McDonald.
His name McDonald, yeah.
McDonald.
Not Ronald, Tom McDonald, but but anyway, if you're ever familiar with him, he does a lot of political raps and stuff. And actually, I did not know this until I was actually watching him on one of the. I don't know. He was interviewing with some news station, but he was actually a pro wrestler at one time. I did not know that. So,
I didn't know it either.
Yeah, so I'm about to go back and see actually what he did and where he was doing it. That's kind of interesting to me now. But anyway, he was talking about how they, for him, he's an independent artist. He like records and does his own beats. He does all his stuff in house, so he has no record label or anything to answer to. And then his wife does all his videos, so they're pretty much self-independent on everything.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why he was explaining why it was so hard to cancel him, because he doesn't have anybody to answer to. So it's kind of harder to cancel him. It is great. I think a lot of artists should do this. But the thing that kind of made me mad was he was like, if you go and you looked at, I don't remember what song it was he was talking about, but if you looked at that song at the time, it said, trending number 4 when it played. Like when you play it, it'd say, it's trending number 4 on YouTube. Now, if you go into the YouTube stats, it would go 1, 2, 3, 5. It skipped over his list when it did the top 10 trending. So I thought, man, that's pretty fucked up. Is like you're willing to like let them know when they play the song that it's number 4, but you're not willing to let everybody know that it's in the top 10 when you just go and look at stats, which is kind of weird to me.
I don't like that
about that. I don't like that either, but because I feel like that could very easily trend over into something, Machine Head related as far as that goes, because we know how political Rob can be. Mm-hmm. So what if Machine Head comes out with a song?
And Megadeth, yeah.
Yeah. So you got these bands that are like that. So what's to say YouTube doesn't like skip over them? And, and if you're not paying attention, you're not going to notice. I mean, but that's still just, I don't know. It's just wild to me why you wouldn't compile that information, because you're having to pay the guy regardless, because he's getting,
Mm-hmm.
I watched where he just put a video out like the other day, and it was 4 hours. He already had 78K. So I mean, the guy's popular, so you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna pay. You're gonna have to pay him regardless, because he's gonna get a million easily.
I just don't like, and we've talked about it before. We know, and you just brought it up. You talked about how the political aspect of machine, like Rob and Machine Head.
Mm-hmm.
We know what his politics are, and we may not 100% agree with his political views, but keeping the music separate like we do here, that's fine. I'll go watch him live. I'll go listen to his music, but that doesn't necessarily mean I have to agree with his opinions, and that's fine. And that's how it needs to be. You can agree to disagree on things.
The thing I love about Rob, though, is we've seen Machine Head a few times over the last 3 or 4 years.
He never brings it up,
and I've never heard him say anything political at a show.
Not once.
Because he knows it's separate. He's a smart guy. He's not stupid. He's not going to go out there and kill fans by preaching out his political views, because that's not what he's. Like I said, we're there to hear your music. We're not there to hear. If we want to hear your political shit, we'll turn into something where you're talking political. So,
well, and he's got his own podcast where he can talk.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He can talk.
Yeah,
right. And there's no issues with that. That's his podcast, his platform. He can do what he wants. But as far as like the music goes, we want to hear music. We don't want to hear you're already putting your take on it in the song anyway.
Yeah.
So I mean, we
get it. That's fine.
We get it. Just because your opinion in a song doesn't make it a bad song either. I mean,
right.
Exactly. I don't agree with a lot of what he sings about, but I mean, I still like a lot of the songs because they're badass. They kick ass. So who cares? But
yes, agree. I just don't agree.
To me, the thing is, I've never heard a song to make me vote one way or another either. So.
That's also true.
So
that's also true.
So
I just don't like censorship. I don't.
Well, no, because I don't like it.
I don't like it.
If the guy is getting, the thing is this: if a guy's going out and you're getting 50 million views, but you're not going to acknowledge that in a count the top 10 trending or whatever, that's bullshit. Because I mean that's literally excuse me, that's literally giving out false information, because you're not giving out all the information. Right. So, and that's the thing I don't like about a lot of the platforms is you can't you say something out of doesn't agree with them, they want to censor you, which is stupid. It's like I don't agree with a lot of what Facebook does, but I'm still on there. I'm not censoring you because I have of course we have this to do, and we have things to do on there. Do I wish there was another version of all this stuff that was popular? Yeah, I do. I wish we could all pay $5 a piece and get Tom back from MySpace, but that's not going to happen. He didn't fucking tell us what we could and couldn't say, and he gave us a damn spot to put music and stuff on. So
I don't like people trying to control what I can or can't listen to, or what I can or can't watch. I'm fucking if I see something I don't like, I will move on, because I know that there probably are people who like that. That's what I do. I have a choice. I have a choice.
Well, that's what I hate about a lot of these people that will get on here and they'll continuously comment on something, and then but I don't really care. Well, yeah, you did. You just commented 12 fucking times. Like, yes, you care. Whereas I'm reading it and I just move on. I'm just laughing most of the time, and I just move on. It's like,
right, exactly.
I'll agree with some stuff and just move on or whatever.
I don't like my choices being forcefully taken away from me by somebody else. Like, if I choose to like this, that's my right. If you choose not to like it, don't read it, don't watch it, don't listen to it, move the fuck on and leave me alone.
Yeah, but my thing is like, especially with the music industry, is we know like Spotify and all these streaming apps, Pandora and all those, don't pay these guys, cents on I'd say cents on pennies.
Less than
fractions of cents on pennies, pretty much, instead of cents on dollars. But so you're already, you're already getting to where your stuff isn't as rotating through as it should be, but then you at a spot where you could put it out there and then they're censoring you. It's bullshit. I mean, give the guy put hard work and stuff into what he's doing, and if his credit should be there. I don't care if you agree with his status on anything or not. And Tom McDonald's pretty much said he says, I'm not Republican or anything. He said, I just think that side of the spectrum agrees with a lot of what I say because I'm using common sense. And I think that's correct because if you hear a lot of his music, and I do listen to that, I'm not a huge rap fan, but I do listen to that because I just wanted to hear what the controversy is with everything, you know? And he does. Like, if I'm sitting here listening to it, I'm like, yeah. I'm just like, I'm pretty much shaking my head this whole time going, yeah, that's common sense, dude. Like, and I agree with a lot of what he says. So,
I probably go ahead. Sorry.
No, but I'm just saying what happens when a lot of these rock bands do the same thing, and we're not paying attention to that because they may not be getting 50 million views. But what if they do, and then they're just getting skipped over like that? That's just bullshit. Because I mean, I think that any musician has put in their time and effort into performing and doing this, then they should get their credit where credit's due. So
same.
Even if 12 people write the fucking song, so.
Well, yeah, but and that's the funny thing is that we've talked about that before, and we have our own opinions on that. But at the same time, it's just
And yes, Dana, I'm feeling oozy today. So that's funny. Anyway, all right. I guess I will do it for us this week. Yeah, wrap it up a little early, and I can get
2.5.
Get to my Christmas Eve festivities, I guess. So,
that's right. But yeah, we want to say thanks to everybody who came by today. Like always, Dana and Jason and Rosemary and Myrna, everybody who came by and hung out with us in the chat today. We greatly appreciate you guys. We appreciate everybody who listens to the show, whether you've come into the chat or whether you've never come into the chat. If you've taken any time to listen to us at all, we greatly appreciate every single one of you. We hope everybody, hell, no matter where you're listening to us from, or even if you celebrate Christmas or not. We know that there's probably some people out there who don't celebrate Christmas like we do here, But even
well, whatever you celebrate, Kwanzaa or
Hanukkah, Kwanzaa,
whatever
stuff, whatever celebration you guys may be going through right now, no matter where you are, we hope it's going well. We hope everyone's being able to spend time with family, and we appreciate everybody taking time out of those celebrations to spend a little bit of time with us too, and take in the show. We appreciate it, and we hope everybody enjoys the holiday, and hope everybody can come hang out with us next week as we wrap up this year. So, But just a reminder for everybody that you can find us at VOPUSARadio.com, the VOPUSA Radio mobile app, our email address, metalheadsuniteusa@gmail.com. Let's see, we got Twitter, we got Instagram, we have TikTok, we have the
pretty much everything.
We have the Metalheads. Yeah, we have the Metalheads Unite Facebook group that you guys can become members of if you wish to. So come on by and send us a member request. We'll get you guys hooked up with that. And like Jason said earlier in the show, any and all of our playlists, for the most part, are over on Spotify. If you go to Spotify and search for Metalheads Unite, you'll find them.
Yep. All right. Well, we appreciate you guys stopping in today, and hopefully we will see you back here for the year in review show, which is always a big show. So feel like staying around for a little while next week, probably. So, anyway, until then, we hope you guys have a Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays,
Happy
or
holidays,
however you want to say that. So,
yep.
Which I say Merry Christmas because
I do too.
That's just who we are. So, anyway, until then, hope you guys have a good one and keep those devil horns held high and jump in that pit anytime you can. See you next week.
Have a great week, guys. Thank you.